A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett and Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young man walks into your office and tells you he has a problem. From the way he talks, you know it's serious. Your job, listen. Today, friends, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office from R&I, and it was 10:14 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you a policeman?
Yes, sir, that's right. What can I do for you?
I want to talk to somebody. I'm not sure who, though.
Well, if you tell me what it's all about, I might be able to help you.
Well, I got to be sure it's the right person. You can understand that, can't you?
Yes, sir.
My name's Paul Marcus.
All right, Mr. Marcus, what is it you want to talk about?
You work in there in the homicide department?
That's right.
You know all about murders, then, huh?
You want to come into the office and talk?
No, I don't want to go in there. Is there someplace else we can go? I'd like to talk to you alone. This is kind of a personal thing.
All right, sir. Come on down the hall. Interrogation room.
Nobody else there?
No.
Well, that's good, because like I told you, this is a personal matter. I need your advice.
All right, sir, this way.
This is the first time I've ever been in the police department. I feel kind of funny just walking in and talking personal things to a stranger.
Yes, sir, I can understand. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Want to sit down right there?
Thank you.
All right, you want to tell me about it?
You mind closing the door?
All right. All right, now what's your problem, Mr. Marcus?
I told you it was personal.
Yes, I know.
I want to be sure I handle it right. I could get in a lot of trouble if I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Been trying to figure out what to do about it for a week now and couldn't find the right answer. That's why I came here. You guys should know.
All right, now if you'll just tell me what's bothering you, we might be able to do something for you.
Uh-huh. A whole week and no answer. I sure hope you got it for me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marcus, but if you don't tell me what this is all about, there's nothing we can do.
Well, it's nothing big, just a personal problem. I just want to know how to handle it.
All right, go ahead.
I killed a woman.
10:18 a.m. We got the name of the woman Paul Marcus said that he'd murdered. We also obtained a description of the victim, and Frank went down the hall to missing persons to see if a report had been filed on her. I waited with the suspect.
It's a personal problem. You know how to handle it. I wasn't sure. That's why I came to you.
All right, where did you meet this Lorraine Farrell?
San Francisco.
How long ago?
A couple of weeks. I just knew her a little while before it happened, just a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Fisherman's Wharf.
What's that?
Fisherman's Wharf. That's where I met her in San Francisco. I was on a vacation. 2 weeks with pay, and I went to San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf. That's where I met Lorraine.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I was down there sitting on the dock looking at the boats, just sitting there eating prawns. You know how they cook them in those great big pots?
Yeah.
Well, I was just sitting there eating prawns, and I met her.
Well, where'd you kill her?
Look, you got to let me tell this in my own way, or I'm not going to tell you at all. It's got to be right so you'll understand. Now, if you don't get it right, the whole thing's gone wrong. You see, it's a real personal thing.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Well, I was just sitting there eating prawns, eating them, and throwing the little tail pieces down in the water. You know how you do.
Mm-hmm.
Watching them kind of float around, and kind of all of a sudden, she was right there sitting just alongside of me.
You ever see her before?
I never laid eyes on her till then.
All right, go ahead.
Well, we both sat there for a minute, and then we started to talk. Just little things like nice weather and how long you've been in San Francisco, things like that. You know how you do.
How old did you say the feral woman was?
19, turned 19 the 5th of August.
All right.
She was born there, you know, in San Francisco. She told me about it when we were talking, how she was born there and grew up there.
Yeah.
Told me all about the school she went to, how she used to play on Strawberry Island and Stowe Lake. You ever been there?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of a beautiful place, you know. They got those rowboats, and you paddle around the lake, and right in the middle is this island, Strawberry Island. There's all those swans that swim around. You can feed them. Real beautiful, Strawberry Island.
Tell me something, Marcus. You ever been in the hospital?
Huh?
You ever had any mental care? Been under the supervision of a psychiatrist, maybe?
You think I'm crazy, don't you?
No, I just asked you a question.
Well, I'm not. I've never been to a doctor. I'm telling you the truth. You'll see.
All right, you want to go ahead?
I guess you get a lot of crackpots in here telling you all kinds of phony stories, huh?
The doors are wide open all night.
I guess you get a lot of them. But I'm not a crackpot. I'm telling you the truth. I did kill her. But it's important you know why I did it. I got to tell you the right way. If I don't, none of it's going to be any good.
When'd you kill her?
September 1st. That's the day we left. September 1st.
That'd be a week ago today, huh?
Yeah, September 1st.
Joe?
Yeah.
See you in a minute.
All right, just a minute, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I checked missing persons.
Yeah.
I got a report on the girl, same name, description matches.
When'd she disappear?
September 1st.
Well, that fits in with what he told us.
Yeah, but there's something that doesn't.
What's that?
She's 16 years old.
Each year, there are hundreds of citizens who walk into the nearest police station and confess to some sort of crime. Some have actually happened. Others have occurred only in the mind of the person confessing. No matter how wild the confession, how implausible the details of the crime, each report has to be checked out. To doctors, such cases are clinical. But to the working detective, they're the cause of a lot of legwork and a great deal of checking. They cost the taxpayer untold man-hours and investigating time and many times result in nothing. Because of his attitude and his reluctance to give us the complete story all at once, it appeared that Paul Marcus might be one of these people. The fact that he named a girl who was missing meant little, since it was possible for him to have read the story in a newspaper. The only way we had of being sure was to continue the interrogation. 10:34 a.m.
She told me she wanted to get away from home. That's what she told me, how it was rough for her there, and she wanted to get away.
Mm-hmm. That's when you said you'd bring her down here, is that right?
Oh, no, I didn't even suggest it. The whole thing was her idea.
She brought it up?
Yes. You see, after that first day on Fisherman's Wharf, I saw her several times. Almost every day we'd meet someplace and talk.
Where would you meet her?
Well, sometimes in one of the hotel bars. Once we met out at the Steinhardt Aquarium. We met on the rotunda there. You know where they have the big pool and all the alligators swimming around? You know where?
Uh-huh.
Well, we met there once, and we walked over to the place where they have the band concerts right across the way where the band plays, only they weren't there that day. Wasn't anybody there, just Lorraine and me. We sat on the benches and talked. That's when she said she wanted to go with me.
To Los Angeles, huh?
Yeah. That's where I was going, and she wanted me to take her.
She came right out and asked you.
Sure. Told me how it was hard for her at home, and she wanted to get away. She told me she had friends here. Said she could stay with them until she got things straightened out. You know, get a job and a place of her own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was going to do that, get a place of her own and a job, and then she'd be all right.
You ever meet her parents?
No, I never went to the house. She told me where it was, though, someplace out by the Twin Peaks Tunnel. I didn't know where exactly. She didn't want me to go out there. Said it would only cause her more trouble. That's why I'd meet her in town.
You ever meet any of her friends up in San Francisco?
Yeah, just once we were in a drugstore on Market Street having a sandwich. We were just sitting there, and she was telling me how it was bad for her at home, and a girl came in. Looked like she was a schoolgirl. You know how I mean, young?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she came in and talked to Lorraine, then they went over to the phone booths and talked.
You didn't actually meet the girl?
No. Lorraine said if I did, the girl might say something to Lorraine's parents, and that would cause trouble.
You know this girl's name?
I think it was Grace. I'm not sure, but I think it was Grace.
When did you leave San Francisco?
Wednesday morning, September 1st. I wanted to get back in time to get some rest before I had to go to work. You know, my vacation was up, and I had to go back to work.
Where'd you pick up the girl?
Wasn't a pickup. I was sitting on Fisherman's Wharf eating prawns and looking at the boats, and we started to talk. Wasn't a pickup. We just got friendly.
No, Marcus, he means where'd you pick up the girl when you left for Los Angeles?
Oh, I thought you meant when I met her the first time. That's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
I met her out at the tunnel.
Where's that?
Well, you know where Castro Street runs into Market, where the L car comes in from the beach? That's where I met her. She came from home, had her suitcase and all, and she came out on the L car.
All right, go ahead.
Well, she got off the streetcar, got into my car, and we left for Los Angeles.
Where'd you kill her?
I told you before, if I don't tell it my way, it isn't going to work. You're not going to understand. It's got to be my way.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Well, it was a beautiful day, just the kind of a day you want when you're going on a drive. You know how I mean, clear and the sun shining.
Yeah.
Well, that's what kind of a day it was.
Uh-huh.
You could see all across the bay over to Berkeley and way up north. It was real clear.
You want to go ahead with your story?
Mr. Friday?
Mm-hmm.
My way?
Yes, all right, go ahead.
All right. We drove all day, stopped for lunch at a place near San Luis Obispo, a little lunch stand there. Had a French dip sandwich. It was one of the best I ever had. The meat was real lean, and they didn't sop up the bun with the gravy. Just the right amount. One of the best I ever ate.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine liked them, too. She didn't like the bread all sopped up with gravy.
Go ahead. What happened after you had lunch?
Well, we left there and drove on. We got down to around Malibu. I guess it was really before that, where the divided highway is, up the coast. You know where the cliffs are?
Yeah, we know.
Well, we stopped. She was such a beautiful night, I just wanted to sit there and look at the ocean. People don't take time anymore.
What happened then?
We just sat there, had a cigarette, and talked. That's when I told her. First time I ever said it.
What was that?
It's funny, I guess most fellas say it a lot. You know how I mean, to a bunch of girls that never mean it.
Go ahead.
I told her. First time I said I loved her, and I told her that she didn't have to get a job, that I wanted to marry her, get her a house and all, and she wouldn't have no more trouble at home. How she'd have her own home and everything would be all right. I told her all that.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, right then. You could divide the second in a million parts, and in one of the parts, I knew I had to do it.
Kill her?
Yeah. You see, she didn't tell me the real reason. She lied to me, and I knew I had to do it. So she wouldn't lie to anyone else. You can understand that. You can see why I had to do it.
Well, maybe you better tell us.
Well, it was all a lie, all about the family being mean to her. All that was a lie. She just wanted to get to Los Angeles because she wanted to meet some other fella here. That's why. She lied about the family, and that's why she did it. So, you see, I had to kill her. I had to.
How'd you kill her?
Huh?
I say, how did you kill her?
We got out of the car and walked over to the cliffs. We could see right down to the ocean. We just stood there. I just hit her. She fell down. It was quiet. So I pushed her over into the water.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do then, Marcus?
I got in the car and drove home.
You just left her there, huh?
Certainly. There wasn't anything I could do for her.
You point out the place where all this happened?
Well, sure. It's up the coast where the highway's divided, north of Malibu. It's real easy to find.
Anybody else around?
You mean when I hit her?
That's right.
No, we were all alone. I didn't see anybody, just the two of us.
All right, Marcus, you willing to give us a statement on all this?
You mean what I just told you?
Yeah.
Well, sure. You want me to tell all about it again?
We'll call in a stenographer.
So you can write it down, huh?
That's the idea.
Well, sure, I'll tell her.
Tell me something, Marcus. When did you get out of the hospital?
I told you before I was never in one. You guys sure make it tough, don't you?
What's that?
I came in here because I wanted to tell you about Lorraine. I wanted you to know so you wouldn't think it was my fault, that's all. So you wouldn't think it was my fault, and now you don't believe me. You think I'm just another crackpot trying to sell a phony story. You guys sure make it tough.
We gotta be sure.
Well, I'm telling you the truth. I want you to believe me.
Yeah.
I want you to believe me.
And we're beginning to. A statement was taken from the suspect, and he was booked in at the main jail on a charge of suspicion of violation of Section 187 PC, murder. We sent a teletype to San Francisco, and we contacted Inspectors Ed Vandervoort and John O'Hare of Homicide Detail. We filled them in and asked that they check out the suspect's story on their end. We also asked that they send us all available information on the missing girl and that they check with her family and try to get a list of any known associates that she might have had in the Los Angeles area. Frank and I checked out of the office at 7:48 p.m. and we went home for the night. The following morning at 9:23 a.m., Inspector Vandervoort from San Francisco called back. Uh-huh. Yeah. When was that, Ed? Wait a minute. All right, yeah, I got it. How about friends down here? I say, how about friends down here? Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Well, it should be here this afternoon then. Right. Yeah, we'll check them out. No, that's on the way. We put it in the mail for you last... Well, you should have it by now, then. Okay, right. Right, Ed, thanks very much. We'll be checking with you. Right. Bye. How about it? Well, they checked the family and the friends, the place where Marcus said he stayed up there.
Yeah.
Marcus' story checks out all the way.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
One of the biggest comedy hits of the year. That's how the movie critics are describing Bob Hope's latest Paramount picture, Casanova's Big Night. Like so many other millions of smokers, Bob and Audrey Dalton, who appears with him in the picture, say Chesterfield's for me. First, Audrey Dalton.
I changed to Chesterfield king size because I think it's better than any other king size cigarette.
Bob Hope says,
5 years. That's how long I've been smoking Chesterfields. And they have what it takes to satisfy me. What's more, I've seen how they make Chesterfields down in their Durham factory. And I wouldn't smoke any other cigarette. Try Chesterfields yourself. You'll find they're best for you, too.
yes, either way, regular or king size, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
In the phone conversation, we learned that all of Lorraine Farrell's friends and relatives had been interviewed and their stories checked with the one given us by the suspect, Marcus. The girl and Paul Marcus had been seen together in the Bay City. The desk clerk at the hotel where the suspect had stayed verified the date that he'd checked out. It was the same day Lorraine Farrell disappeared. The officers in San Francisco were able to contact the girl the suspect had referred to as Grace. She recalled seeing a man answering Marcus' description with the missing Farrell girl. Frank and I spent the rest of the day checking on the suspect. We talked to the people he worked with. They described Marcus as being moody and withdrawn. We talked with his landlady. Her description of the suspect's attitude was the same that we'd gotten before. We thoroughly searched Marcus's apartment, and in a desk drawer we found a loose-leaf notebook with several pages of penciled notes describing the trip that he'd taken up to San Francisco. On one of the pages, at the back of the book, we found a lengthy letter to a Lorraine, in which Marcus apologized to the girl for killing her, but he went on to explain that he had no choice. We booked this evidence. The following morning, Friday, September 10th, Frank and I drove down to the beach and we talked to the people in the vicinity where the suspect said the murder had occurred. We found an elderly couple who lived in a trailer on the beach. They recalled having seen two people answering the description of the suspect and the missing girl on the night that the murder occurred. We drove back to the main jail and we signed out Marcus. We took him down to the car and we drove him out to the beach. We turned up the highway and told him to let us know when we came to the place where he'd killed the Farrell girl.
Sure you know where the place is, Marcus?
Yeah, I remember. It's just up the road a little bit. Just keep right on going. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it now. There's kind of a parking place and a couple of trees. Eucalyptus, I think. There's two of them on the side of the parking place. You can't miss them. It's right ahead there on the left. There, you see?
Yeah. We'll pull in, Frank.
Okay.
Just look at all those cars. Everybody's in such a hurry they never see anything, just like they had blinders on.
You sure this is the place?
I told you, didn't I? No reason to say a thing like that if it wasn't true. Just pull right in there. That's it, right over there. Well, right here is where I parked when it happened. Maybe over there a little bit more, but... Oh, right about here.
And the two of you just sat here for a few minutes, is that it?
Yeah. We just sat here and had a cigarette, and then we got out of the car and walked over to the edge of the cliff.
All right, come on. Show us.
Sure. So you'll believe me, I'll show you. Now, we stood right over there. Right there, and I told her I was in love with her and wanted to marry her.
Now, you stay here. Just point out where you were.
You think I might try to jump off, don't you? That's what you think, isn't it?
You just show us, huh?
Wouldn't do that. There's no reason to. I don't know why you wouldn't agree that I had to do it. I didn't have any other way to do it.
Where were you when you hit her?
Right there, near that clump of grass. We stood there and looked down at the ocean, and she told me about this other guy. That's when I hit her. She fell down right about there.
Uh-huh. And where'd you push her off the cliff?
There, right where I hit her. She was lying there. I guess she hit her head on something, and she was real quiet. I just rolled her over the edge. It was right there. There, you see where the rocks are kind of worn?
Go and take a look.
Yeah.
No, you wait here.
Gee, if I'd have known it was going to be this hard to get it straightened out, I don't think I'd have started the thing. When am I going to get out of jail?
That isn't up to us.
Well, then I want to talk to the people who it's up to. I got to tell them about Lorraine, how she lied to me and why I had to kill her. As soon as they hear the story, they'll understand. They got to realize that there wasn't any other way.
How's it look?
Well, I found this caught in the branch just over the edge.
Yeah.
It's a girl's handkerchief. Read the name on it.
Yeah. Lorraine. Friday, September 10th, 3:46 p.m. We contacted the crime lab and asked them to come out and go over the scene. Officers stood by so that any physical evidence would not be disturbed until Lieutenant Lee Jones and his men had an opportunity to go over it. Frank and I, along with the suspect, drove back to town where we made arrangements with the city lifeguard service to search for the body. The following morning, a boat equipped with diving gear left Santa Monica Harbor and took a course north. Experienced deep-sea divers searched the crevices in the rocks beneath the cliffs. All of the sea bordering the vicinity was gone over. There was no trace of a body. The shoreline on either side of the murder spot was checked. Still no trace of the missing girl. In the meantime, 2 additional teams of men were assigned to check out the friends of Lorraine Farrell. They carried pictures of Paul Marcus and attempted to dig out any information on the suspect and the missing girl. 6:42 p.m., Sunday. We called the main jail and asked that the suspect be brought to the city hall for additional questioning.
I had a reason to do what I did, a good reason. Now, you let me talk to the responsible people around here, and I'll have them tell you. I'm getting a little tired of being shoved around. You just bring in the boss and let me talk to him.
What day did you say that you left San Francisco?
September 1st.
I thought it was the 2nd. The 1st.
You said you left in the afternoon, is that right?
In the morning, and you remember it. I don't know what all these questions are for. I told you I killed Lorraine. I walked in here and told you there's no reason for all this McGilla. Just no reason.
Where'd you hide the body?
I didn't hide it.
Well, and where is it?
I told you I put her in the ocean.
We haven't been able to find her.
Well, then you're not looking good. I told you the truth all along the line. I've told you the
sure
truth.
You didn't make a mistake about where all this happened?
Not a chance in the world. Right there by the parking place where the 2 trees are.
Well, maybe you just thought you left her there.
I know it.
Had you been drinking when you killed her?
No. We stopped and had a couple of beers on the way. Just a couple, not enough to get drunk.
But you did have something to drink.
Well, sure, but not enough to get drunk on.
How many beers you have?
2, maybe 3.
All right, which was it? 2 or 3?
Well, what difference does it make?
Were you drunk?
No.
How about the girl? Was she drunk?
No.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure. What are you trying to do? What difference does it make? Maybe we did have more than a couple, but what difference does it make?
I'm just trying to get things straight.
We want to be sure we got the right story. Huh?
Well, you have.
All right. How about a cigarette, huh?
Yeah, thanks.
Frank?
Yeah, thanks. Here, I got a match.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't light his, too. That's bad.
What do you mean?
3 on a match. It's bad.
It is, huh?
Well, sure, you never do that. Here.
Thanks.
You got right home after you killed the Farrell girl, huh?
Yeah. I drove right down the highway and went home. Traffic was kind of heavy. I thought about it, all those people all hurrying around, not taking any time.
Anybody see you when you came home?
What do you mean?
Well, anybody see you park the car, go into your apartment?
Well, no, there wasn't anybody around.
Now, you said when you met the girl up in San Francisco that she had a suitcase with her, is that right?
Yeah, she did. Artificial leather with real leather binding.
And where is it now?
Huh?
What'd you do with her suitcase?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember it.
We couldn't find it in your room.
Well, you didn't have no right to go through my room. No right at all.
We didn't find the suitcase. Where is it?
Well, I don't know.
Did you put it with a body?
Well, I might have.
Where?
I don't know. I don't remember. I hit her. She lied to me, and I hit her. Then I pushed her into the ocean. That's all I know. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah, sure. What do you got, Al?
We found the girl.
Where?
She's sitting in the squad room.
Frank stayed with the suspect in the interrogation room, and I went with Sergeant Al Olivas up to the office. Sitting at one of the tables was a small girl with jet black hair. As we came into the room, she was putting on lipstick. She glanced over at us, and then she went back to what she was doing. There wasn't any doubt about it. The girl in the squad room was Lorraine Farrell. She dyed her hair, and she had on a lot of makeup, but it was the missing girl.
Joe, this is Miss Farrell, Joe Friday.
How do you do?
Hi.
Where'd you find her, Al?
Friend up in Eagle Rock. Says she's been there for a week.
Thanks, Al.
Right.
You seen the papers lately, Miss Farrell?
Yeah, I read the funnies.
You ought to read the front page. You've been on them.
All right?
Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of policemen out looking for you.
They probably needed the exercise anyway.
There's a man down the hall who thinks that he killed you.
That creep, Paul?
Yeah, Paul Marcus, that's his name.
Real creep. I was glad to get away from him. Well, I guess he tried to give me about our home. What a baloney. He's a real creep. You ought to keep an eye on him. He's going to wig one of these days.
Is that so?
Yeah. He drove me down here, and when I told him I didn't want to have anything to do with him, he got real sore, started yelling. Creep.
Where'd all this happen, miss?
Oh, out by Malibu. Road out there. Stopped the car and gave me all the stuff about wanting to marry me. I was in love with me. Big deal. Said I was the first girl I ever said that to. Big deal.
What happened then?
I told him I didn't want no part of him. Told him to get lost. Thanked him for the ride and told him to get lost. He flipped. Bad, he flipped. I took off, got a ride, came into the town. I got this girlfriend in Eagle Rock. I've been out there. You ought to watch that guy, though.
Mm-hmm. How old did you tell him that you were?
I don't know. Forget. I think 19, something like that. Forget.
Mm-hmm.
He confessed to killing me, huh?
That's right.
Flipped. He's a wig.
Let's take a walk, huh?
Where?
Come on.
Sure. I got nothing to lose. Can you guys drive me back to Eagle Rock tonight? I got a date. I got to be back pretty quick.
You're not going to go back to Eagle Rock.
Who says so?
We're going to have to hold you.
For what? I haven't done anything.
Well, you're a minor. We've got a missing report filed on you. Your folks are pretty worried.
They're always worrying about something. If there ain't nothing for them to worry about, then they worry about that.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. We're going to have to hold you.
You just try it, cop. You just try it. You'll find out you got more trouble than you came in one lump.
Uh-huh. In here. This is Lorraine Farrell, Officer Smith.
Hello.
Lorraine.
Hi, creep.
I didn't mean to do it. You know that. I didn't really mean to do it, but there wasn't any other way.
What's the plan? You know what he's talking about?
He thinks he killed you.
Wait.
I didn't think I'd ever see you again. I didn't think I would. But I want you to know one thing, Lorraine.
What's that?
I forgive you for lying.
I told you it hadn't.
Yeah, come on.
Where to?
We'll take you to the office and call a policewoman.
Then to the can, huh?
To juvenile hall. Come on, let's go.
I'll take her, Joe.
All right.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Lorraine. I'm not mad at you anymore.
You know, I was worried.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I want you to know how I appreciate it.
Yeah, what's that?
What you tried to do, I think was real fine, thanks.
I don't know what you mean.
You didn't fool me a bit.
Huh?
I know I killed her.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 4th, the hearing was held in Department 98, Superior Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them and you'll say as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
Paul Nelson Marcus was held to answer a charge of violation of Section 701 WIC, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. After due deliberation, he was placed on probation and delivered into the hands of a competent psychiatrist. Lorraine Jean Farrell was returned to the custody of her parents. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters. The one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. Much more flavor. Much less nicotine. And effective filtration. Only L&M filters have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose, the purest material for filtering cigarette smoke. Yes, this is it. As Bennett Cerf puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette. L&M filters, America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette.
Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
The Cosmopolitan Building, 7th Street near Olive, downtown L.A. A mess of granite thrown together by an architect who must have taken his degree on the rock pile of Leavenworth. It's up on the 3rd floor, room 308, right next to a credit dentist who shares his office with a collection agency. On the other side, there's a school for models, and the Lion's got sore eyes trying to see through that cloudy glass. International Detective Bureau, Anthony J. Lyon, President. He's also Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer. I work for him. Well, the office isn't much, but there's enough elbow room for a client to write a check. I went to the office Friday night about 5:20 answering the Lion's call. He was sitting behind the desk sucking on a quarter cigar. He looked real pleased, like a fat lady locked in a cream puff factory.
Man I know had a baby. Plumber named Broman or Groman or something like that.
Muzzle tough.
Cancel any arrangements you got for the night. I got something for you to do. Got your car?
It's in the lot.
Gas it up. You're taking a trip.
Where to?
Calabasas. A man wants to see you.
I got no friends out there.
Friend of mine named Hendricks. He counts his money with an adding machine, and his finger's always swollen.
What's the problem?
I don't know. He didn't say. He just called and told me to send out a man.
How much did he give you for a retainer?
When an important man like Hendricks calls, you don't insult him by asking for money.
Oh, stop it, will you? You're the kind of guy who'd steal pennies out of parking meters.
That's enough, Regan.
If one of them turned up empty, you'd sue the city.
Here's the Hendricks address. Now get out there.
All right.
Regan.
Yeah?
Remember, do a good job, and I'll give you Thanksgiving off, and I'll pay you.
With what, cranberries? Well, I headed out Beverly and then up through Hollywood. You know, it's only November, but Santa Claus is breaking out all over the boulevard. I fought my way over Coalinga Pass, and by the time I was dodging station wagons on Ventura, it was dark. Calabasas is a place with a couple of service stations, a hot dog stand, and a few road signs full of buckshot. The Hendricks place turned out to be about 5 miles down a road that the Indians built for hauling firewater. I guess they couldn't keep the cork in. But the house itself was strictly prohibition stuff. A big pile of slate roof and leaded windows. It was dark and lonesome. I figured somebody had their holidays mixed.
Hiya, Pilgrim!
It was a big fat guy. He was holding a 6-foot gun in the shape of a straightened-out tuba. He came closer, and I could see his hat. It was a high one with a buckle on it. He was dressed in black, and he had buckles all over him. I figured that I'd been eating too much Quaker Oats.
What's the matter, Pilgrim? A little shooting makes you nervous?
That's a big gun there.
Shoots musket balls. Good for Indians.
Well, I'm no Indian.
Oh, I wasn't aiming at you.
Well, that gun wouldn't know the difference.
It's a blunderbuss. Great weapon.
Is it?
I'll show you. You prop it up on a crutch.
You keep fooling with that thing, and we'll both need one.
Now, let's be quiet there. Load the barrel with lots of powder.
Look, why don't you give that thing back to the museum?
See, that's it. More powder. Gotta use lots of this black powder.
Buster, you need black coffee. Come on, give me that thing before it blows up in your face. You broke a window.
Oh, it's all right. It was only the attic.
You live here?
Of course not, Pilgrim. I'm Miles Standish.
Well, where's the rest of the party?
Oh, inside, talking to John Olden.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you just think I'm kidding, don't you? Pilgrim, you just haven't got the Mayflower spirit.
No, you drank it all.
It's just cider. Nothing better on a cold New England night.
Thanksgiving's not for a week. Come on, get off it.
Hark.
What's the matter? Put that down.
I'm not going to shoot him. He's a friendly type.
Brother Regan,
Yeah?
if thou wilt follow me, please.
Oh, you too, huh?
I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Well, so long, Pilgrim.
Yeah, keep your powder dry, Standy.
I'll see you on Plymouth Rock.
Okay, this way, Brother Regan.
Now, look, Sunshine, you work here.
My name is Phelps.
Why don't you lock that guy up?
I'd be outnumbered, sir. 21, Pilgrim.
Bad winter. They make you wear those corduroy knickers?
Knee breeches, sir. It was Priscilla's idea.
You need a union.
Need more shapely legs. Through here.
Now, it's quite a place you got.
Well, looks better without the decorations, sir.
Yeah. How do you keep from stepping on these pumpkins?
It's only when they use them for bowling that it's difficult.
Come on, fill me in. What's this all about?
Thanksgiving, sir. 1621. Okay, this room here, sir. Go right in.
Okay.
Shut the door. Shut it.
Mr. Hendricks around?
He's not here. Come over, sit down.
Who are you, Priscilla?
Please don't say another word of that silly rigmarole or I'll start screaming.
Yeah, well, I could use a little yell myself.
I'm Agnes. I'm Mrs. Hendricks. Or Agnes.
It doesn't make any difference.
Does to my friends. Didn't I say sit down?
Yes, you did and I didn't. So you don't like the party, huh?
I'm not much of a Puritan, Mr. Regan.
Well, that great Dane says the masquerade was your idea.
Phelps is stupid. This goes on all weekend, Mr. Regan. It's called a turkey shoot.
Yeah, so that's it. Who gets the bird?
The Pilgrim fathers. My husband's friends. They ought to be shot, every one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm not from the SPCA.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Regan. I like you.
That's not the point.
I won't bore you.
Your husband might.
Him. He's crazy, Mr. Regan. Crazy as the things he does. Shooting, drinking, spending money.
A hard life.
I don't know how I stood it for as long as I have. My lawyer says I'm the most patient woman in the world.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the conversation, Miss Hendricks.
Why did my husband send for you?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You do know. Tell me.
I don't know.
Please. You don't realize what kind of a man my husband can be.
I never met him.
You don't know how much I need help. How lonely I am.
Well, where is he?
Tell you if you promise to come back to me.
No, I'll write you a letter.
He's out in the shed, other side of the patio.
Thanks.
I wouldn't act this way if I weren't so frightened. You don't know what it is to be frightened all the time.
No, but I'm learning.
I wish you'd stick around, Mr. Regan.
Well, thanks, Miss Hendricks, but the pin feathers are a little sharp. Miss Hendricks went back to her worrying, and I wound my way through the house looking for the back entrance. My legs got tired before it finally showed on the other side of the pantry. It poured out into a flagstone patio as big as a palladium. A walk took me to a shed. It was a two-story redwood place that must have made a loud noise on the cash register, and alongside, fenced in with chicken wire, was a whole population of turkeys. Well, I went into the shed. A little round-faced guy with pink skin was leaning over a barrel of cider. He wore a blue silk smoking jacket with gold initials EH on the pocket. When he caught my footsteps, his head bobbed up, and he gave me a deep look like he was trying to see the back of my eyeballs.
Yes?
I'm Regan, International Detective Bureau.
Oh, I've been expecting you. I'm Hendricks.
Yeah, I know. Why the fireworks?
Huh? Oh. Miles Standish. Just having fun. It's a party, you know. Big party we're having.
Yeah, well, the neighbors will complain.
Ah, neighbors. None for miles around. That's why I like it out here. Have trouble finding me?
You ought to put up signs.
Signs? Glasses of cider, Regan? Carefully. What?
I'm not thirsty.
Yeah. That's not what it's for. Strong kind. Oh, go on. Thanksgiving soon. Get the spirit.
No, I can hold out till Thursday.
Suit yourself. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, it's going to be quite a party here, you know.
Your wife's got a different version.
Oh, you spoke to her?
Yeah.
You were told to come out here to see me?
I got sidetracked.
It's not good for a man in your position.
All right, Hendricks, why am I here?
What'd she say to you?
I forgot.
Regan, you're making me angry.
Now, look, mister, you didn't get me out here to make a pilgrim out of me.
No, of course not. Fine woman, Mrs. Hendricks. We've been married for years, you know, happily. Fine little woman. Still, she makes me a little nervous at times.
You like the sound of guns going off?
She shouldn't get so excited. Boys just having little fun. It's only once a year. What's wrong with that?
Come on, now, what's the job?
Didn't the line tell you?
He said you would.
Oh, well. Nothing to be so mysterious about. I've just got a package I want you to take to them. Here it is. A turkey.
You got me all the way out here to play escort to that bird?
Well, I just want to be friendly. Here. Now, go on. It's a long way back to L.A., and you want to be there for Thanksgiving.
What's the difference? I got the turkey. I can celebrate any time. 60 miles to do a delivery job, bird. Well, I wandered back to my car, and I listened to the crickets and the gunshots try to outdo each other. And then I dumped the turkey into the back seat, and I started the car down the drive. I just noted around the bend when the headlights caught a pair of buckled shoes and black knee breeches. Miles Standish was lying face down in the dirt, and there was a wet shine on his side. He was breathing hard. Blunderbuss was lying beside him, and I figured that he blew out the wrong end. I would have gone for the Hendricks phone and the doctor, but I got a good look at the holes in him, and I headed for a hospital instead. The blunderbuss may have been kicking up a fuss, but the holes in Miles Standish were 20th century, about the size of a .32. Well, I turned him over to an emergency hospital, and I put a call into the sheriff's office. I gave the story to Lieutenant Robinson, and then I headed back toward town. At the Lyons place, the lights were still on, so I figured he didn't have company. I rapped on the door, and he flung it open before the echo could die away. He had a carving knife in one hand, and he was wearing an apron. His eyes were big, and he had an eager look like a college couple on Mulholland Drive.
Regan, you're back.
Oh, now that takes a big brain.
I've been waiting for you. You know, I had a chance to go to a classy party tonight. Russian caviar and champagne and favors to all the guests. You know why I didn't go?
You lost your crack suit, huh?
I said to myself, is it fair to go out and have a good time while my employee is working real hard for international detectives?
And the answer came out yes, but the party was called off.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was. But I wouldn't have gone anyway. Where is it?
Where's what?
The package from Hendricks.
Now, you can change your plans, big shot. You're getting a bundle of trouble instead.
What do you mean?
Turkeys aren't the only thing they're knocking off out on that ranch.
Huh?
Somebody's handy with a .32, and he's found a target.
You've been drinking?
Check the county emergency hospital. They'll show you the holes.
I send you out on a simple little job, and you come back with a crazy story about a shooting. You're out of your mind.
Now, listen, you. There's a big smell out in Calabasas.
What about my turkey?
The sheriff's office are going to have a lot of questions. You got the answers?
I don't know anything. I was miles away.
Well, then find out something. Check into the guy who shot. Find out who he is, what he does, and what he was doing out at Hendricks.
Where you going?
To scratch around in the Hendricks closet. They tell different stories about their wedded bliss.
Hey, Regan.
Yeah?
Where's my turkey?
It's too rich for your blood, Fatso. Stick to chicken. Well, I left him standing there with his apron hanging out. Miles Standish might get enough wind to do that extra hole to say who shot him, but more likely not. Anyway, with the bucket load he had, he would have sworn it was the last of the Mohicans. But there was an angle to that Hendricks woman, even if it didn't show. So I walked up the street to where my car was nuzzling a lamppost. And the turkey and I were just going to wake up a newspaper office, only something changed my mind. A newspaper. It was wrapped around a bundle, and the bundle was under a guy's arm, and the arm was shutting the door of my car. Good evening, Pop.
Yeah. Hi.
Going somewhere?
Sure. Find a place to sleep, that's all.
Want a cigarette?
Say, I don't mind if I do. Thought you was a bull for a minute. You mind if I take two?
No, help yourself.
My brother smokes two. And not much in the streets these days.
Yeah, it's bad all over.
Well, something ought to be done.
Stick around, Pop.
No, Sonny. You give me smokes. I don't hit you for cash. It's a rule I got.
I'll make the touch.
What's that?
What's in the newspaper?
Russia.
Inside.
The funny paper.
Yeah, sure.
Well, now take it easy, boss. The guy's got a right to his privacy.
You weren't sleeping in my car.
Oh, so that's it, huh? Yours, huh? small world, ain't it?
Yeah, come on, let's unwrap.
Now, it's Thanksgiving, Mac. Ain't you heard of Thanksgiving?
I'm going to plug my ears. Give.
Now, please, Mac, show me the spirit. Once in my life, both drumsticks.
Stop it, you're breaking my heart.
I mean it, Mac. Let me have it. I'll break the wishbone for you, Sonny. I will. You ain't got no use for all that meat, have you? Oh, you have, huh? Oh, so long, man.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it.
No, let go of my arm.
That was a pretty dance, but you should have changed your shoes.
What's that?
You didn't get those buckles in the breadline.
Oh.
Now, come on, change the record. Who are you?
That's none of your business. Let go.
I said talk.
I will not.
You're from the Hendricks place, aren't you? You're from the... Oh.
Thank you, Phelps.
That's all right. Got the bird?
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Nighty-night, Pilgrim.
You are listening to the story of the Pilgrim's Progress, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the Pilgrim's Progress.
Well, none of it made sense. The Lion sent me out to pick up a turkey on the Hendricks Ranch in Calabasas, and the Mr. and Mrs. were having an old-fashioned turkey shoot, and all the guests carried blunderbusses and dressed like pilgrims. Only it wasn't just the turkeys who were acting as targets. One of the pilgrims ended up with some .32 caliber holes in him. And then the Hendricks lackey and a buddy shoved a gun at me and stole the Lion's bird. Well, I picked myself up and I went home. A heavy man was doing a heist job on my icebox. He was pouring himself a glass of milk to wash down a sandwich he was munching on.
Hi, Regan.
Go right ahead. Help yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know how long I was going to have to wait, and I was getting hungry.
There's a restaurant just up the block.
I like it better this way, homemade. Fix you a sandwich? Pretty good deviled ham.
Come on, let's close the box and open your mouth, buddy.
Why not? We had a date, remember? Robertson, sheriff's office.
That's what I figured.
You don't mind me coming in like this, do you?
What if I did?
I'd leave. Sanctity of the home, you know. You can throw me out even though I got a badge.
Let's cut away the fat, mister. What do you want?
Answers to a couple of questions. What were you doing at the Hendricks place?
Picking up a turkey?
Well, that's a new one.
Now, look, you ask him. I'll answer him. Never mind the feature page.
How long have you known the Hendricks?
Never met him before.
Wrong answer.
What do you mean?
We found this out at the Hendricks house. A page torn out of the yellow directory with a red circle around International Detective.
Now, that doesn't say a thing.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm still scratching around.
It'll ruin your manicure.
You know, Regan, you don't seem to realize the seriousness of this. That pilgrim you dragged in died.
Well, I figured.
We don't like unsolved murders messing up our record books.
Well, then you're wasting your time here.
I got lots of it. I don't come up for pension for 12 more years. What was that pilgrim's name?
He gave me Miles Standish.
Sounds like a fake.
Well, don't count on it. I once knew a John Smith.
Give me the real name.
I don't have it.
All right. He's an out-of-town boy, but we'll track him down. Now, straighten out something for me, Regan. How long did you say you knew the Hendricks?
Now, look, I gave this to you once. Nothing's changed.
How come we find a $5,000 check in that joker's pocket made out of cash and signed by Hendricks? Go ahead, answer. Just don't make a date. You may not be available.
Yeah?
Mr. Regan, this is Mrs. Hendricks. I must see you right away.
Who did you say?
Mrs. Hendricks, you remember?
Charlie? No, there's no Charlie here. You must have the wrong number.
Sort of annoying, isn't it, Regan, when you get a wrong number late at night?
Well, it happens.
Sure it does. Happened to me once.
Anything else you want?
Another deviled ham sandwich?
Kitchen's closed.
Pretty rotten hospitality.
Well, you weren't asked.
Okay, I gotta move anyway. See you later, Regan. Keep the mud off your shoes.
ER3408.
Hello?
This Mrs. Hendricks, this is Regan.
I just called you.
Well, I couldn't talk. What do you want?
Can you come out, Mr. Regan? Right away.
You still lonely?
Things aren't going well.
Well, murder's like that.
I've got to talk to somebody. Won't you please come?
Give me a reason.
I can tell you some things now I couldn't mention before.
Like why your husband wrote a $5,000 check to the dead man?
Check? But there must be some mistake.
What do you mean?
My husband couldn't write a check that large. He doesn't have any money of his own. It's all in my name.
All right. Put a lantern in the window, lady. I'll need some light. Well, I headed out there fast. But when I raised a racket with a brass knocker, nothing happened. I tried a window, and a couple of scratches later, I was in the hall. The place looked empty, like the Rose Bowl on January 2nd. I found Miss Hendricks' room, where I talked to her and stepped inside. The decorations were different.
Sheriff's office. Robinson.
This is Regan. I got something for you.
It better be good.
You're going into overtime.
What do you mean?
Bring some boys out to the Hendricks place with a wet rag. Somebody blew out Mr. Hendricks' fuse. Well, I backed out of the room, and I made it to the bar trying to turn up a bottle. In the corner, something else turned up instead. Another dead body. The turkey Phelps and his buddy had stolen from me. Somebody real eager had done a carving job on it before it was even cooked. They'd torn it apart like they were looking for something. Well, it was morning before the sheriff's boys cleaned up the Hendricks mess when we got back to town. Robinson had a few more questions, but I was still short on the answers. Ballistics had one, though. Same gun did the job on both Miles Standish and Hendricks. And that's all. Homicide was getting places in a hurry, like a snail hauling a piano. Well, the lion was waiting for me outside the sheriff's office, and he pulled me to the side. His eyes were lit up like a pinball machine, and you could tell he'd fought the scent of a greenback.
They tricked you okay, Regan?
Good enough.
No rough stuff?
Oh, nothing that shows, no.
Thinking we're in luck. I've been turning up things. We've been playing the wrong horse.
Well, that figures you're good at picking losers.
Hendricks is a piker, a social climber.
He's a dead one.
I'll send him flowers. But I'm telling you, he could only write checks for 5 G's.
With a big bounce.
Somebody else in this thing can write bigger ones.
Well, let me guess who.
Mrs. Hendricks, that's who. I tell you, Regan, it pays to keep up your connection.
How high can she go?
The sky's below sea level.
What else you got?
Standish is a phony moniker.
That's grammar school.
Real name Jeffrey Kelly, age 42. He's a wholesale jeweler. He had a little business with Mrs. H. $250,000 worth.
That's going to run up his taxes.
He can handle it.
What did he do for her?
I drew a blank, but he deposited her certified check in the bank yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm. How does Phelps figure?
I don't know.
Well, who's the little man in the big overcoat?
I can't do everything. You got to do some work, too.
Yeah, sure.
Now, find Mrs. Hendricks. Offer her the services of international detective at our usual nominal rate, but don't underplay it. Now, get busy.
Where are you going?
Home to bed. A man's got to get some sleep.
Well, the time was ticking out, but the game wasn't over yet. I figured to have a fast finish, and the Lion had a pretty good idea about catching some shut-eye. So I moved to the office and to stretch out on the couch. But through the glass, I could see there was a light on. Company was inside.
Crestview 2045. Phelps, no luck. I looked all over. I told you, I tore the place apart. Nothing's here. I'm trying my best. Stop harping. Oh, well, it must be someplace else. Okay, right away.
Leave a nickel, Buster.
Huh? Oh, Regan.
You looking for something?
You, Pilgrim.
What else?
Plymouth Rock.
Come on, punk, level it.
It coax me.
All right, Nickers, you've been crying for this. Now, what now? Well, it felt good to watch the big guy fall. He folded in like a steeple in an earthquake. When his head bounced on the Lion's carpet, it figured he was due for a long sleep, so I went through his pockets. Ticket stubs from the prize fights, the gun, and the pocket knife I dumped into the safe. There was a pass to the Dons game on November 25th. He must have swiped that from his boss, so I filed that in the Lion's desk for future reference. But this guy Phelps had taken orders from somebody besides Hendricks. I just heard him do it on the phone. So when I turned up an old envelope with 832 North Palm scratched in the back, I crossed my fingers. He'd been hauling a Crestview number, and the phone book said that I had a lead. North Palm was in the Crestview exchange area. So I called for the cops to sweep up Brother Phelps, and I climbed back onto my broomstick. I drove out through Beverly Hills. I wound up in front of a big Spanish house with potted $10 bills on the driveway. There was a new Nash sticking out of the garage, and I walked around to take a look. But honest John had beat me to it.
Who's there?
Now, stick around. I want to talk to you.
Stand back. Stand back.
You like cars, don't you? Maybe you want a hot rod.
Oh, you don't. Get away from me.
Hey. Well, it was the little turkey fan that I'd last seen in an overcoat. Phelps' buddy. He took out of there like a cow in deer season, so I let him go. No license. Well, I took a look around the car he'd been sniffing, but nothing showed except the registration. It said Mrs. Agnes Hendricks. I went to the house and rang the doorbell, and she answered.
Oh, what's you? Mr. Regan.
All right, I'll ask myself in.
Yes, come in.
Who are you expecting, John Alden?
No, I'm glad to see you.
You know, I don't like girls who break dates.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't wait for you to come all the way to Calabasas.
You got impatient on the kind of a body in the house.
You saw him?
Yeah, after I tripped over him in your room.
I didn't do it.
Did I say you did?
You've got to believe me.
Relax. I look like a jury. You got multiple vision.
Oh, Mr. Regan, I was so frightened. I didn't know which way to turn.
We've been through all that woman driver routine. You don't like your husband. You wanted to get rid of him.
But only in Reno.
All right, now let's get back to page 1. You gave 250 G's to a jeweler named Kelly. You bought a rock.
What?
A rock, Plymouth rock. It's a diamond. It's got to be.
Well,
why'd you do it? Who'd you buy it for?
Myself. My lawyer said I should get it for myself, that's all.
He likes you pretty, huh?
No, it was a community property thing. He said I could keep my husband from knowing how much money I had when he asked for a divorce settlement.
Only hubby got wind of the deal.
I guess so.
You're making sense. Only why did he write a check to Kelly?
Well, it was a small one. It must have been for a paste imitation, don't you think?
It's not my business. Keep dealing.
I mean, maybe he planned on switching them and getting my real one.
That's been done.
He actually did it. Because all through this, there's been a diamond in the place where I always keep it.
All right, you got a strong boy, Phelps. Had him out looking for the real diamond.
What?
And the other guy, the old man, was out in the garage.
No.
Phelps tore up my office, phoned here to you.
Mr. Regan.
Now, look, there's been 2 guys killed.
Mr. Regan.
Good evening, Pilgrim.
Where's your overcoat?
Stand still, please.
Yeah, my foot's in a crack.
Mr. Regan, this is John Alden.
Oh, can it, will you? I've seen him act one part already.
That's true. Mine is the only name that's real. This is my house, Mr. Regan.
Lawyer?
Yes, I came here to see him, Mr. Regan. I just got here before you did.
Be quiet, Agnes.
Well, I got it all now.
You won't keep it.
Phelps took his orders from you.
It's a waste of testimony.
You started this, spotted the gem switch, figured to cash in.
You're losing your chip.
Shut up, will you? I got aces. Hendricks outfoxed you. You never found the real diamond.
5 in the hand draws blood.
Mr. Alden, don't...
Now, you keep out of this, Agnes.
She's not in it. You are.
That's all, Regan.
All right, come on, drop it. Drop it.
Go with that.
I guess I hit him with the paste one.
Huh?
Look, the diamond, it broke.
Yeah.
It was just luck. I have the other one, too. I thought Alden was honest. I came to tell him I found it in my husband's cider.
Well, that tears it. Come on, Priscilla. That docks the Mayflower. Well, the whole thing folded in like an elephant on a pogo stick. Yeah, the lawyer did it all right, both of them. When he spotted what Hendricks was up to with that diamond switch, he moved in, but not for his client. The jeweler, Miles Standish, alias Kelly, got bumped because he was the only one who could tell the real diamond from a phony. But Hendricks got wise to the muscle act, and so he got shot. Well, the lion was real happy the way it worked out. That dame with the nerves wrote him a check. So he invited me out to Thanksgiving dinner. He offered me any part of the turkey that I wanted. I told him, but I got it anyway.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillis, produced by Sterling Tracy. Featured in tonight's story were Mary Lansing, Marvin Miller, Paul Frees, and Paul DeBug. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 2 masked gunmen have held up a bank in your city. The victims can't give you a lead to their identity. Your job, find them. Today, friends, you hear these 3 words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. Best for you, because Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. Chesterfield is best for you because it's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield is best for you because it has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the street, and it was 8:47 a.m. when I got to the rear of the bank, the manager's office.
I'm not a young woman anymore. I can't take this kind of excitement.
Yes, ma'am. You checked with them?
Yeah. They got the broadcast out right away. Long shot if it pays off.
Yeah. Not much of a description.
Well, I hope you're not saying that for my benefit, young man. I gave you all I could. It was hard to see their faces with those scarves on. Maybe you could have done better, but I couldn't.
We're not trying to say that you didn't do good, ma'am. We understand the handicap that you were under.
I should hope so. Terrible thing. I'm not a young woman anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Now, would you tell us just exactly what happened now, right from the beginning?
You mean starting when I come in this morning?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
8 o'clock, just like always. That's when I got here.
Uh-huh.
Opened the door with my key and came right on in, little suspecting what was waiting for me. I tell you, I was pretty surprised when they popped out at me.
You didn't see them at first, then, huh?
Of course not. You think I would have come in if I'd have seen them?
No, ma'am.
Certainly not. Never would have come in.
When did you first see the 2 men?
I came in and locked the door behind me. Rules say you gotta lock the door. I did, and then I went back to the clothes closet to hang up my coat and umbrella.
I see. Go ahead.
Kind of silly, I guess, carrying an umbrella on a day like this, but I always do. Never know.
Yes, ma'am.
People always kind of smirk at me for carrying one, but whenever it rains out of a clear sky, they don't smirk then. I'm always the center of a crowd, you just bet you.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go ahead with what happened, please?
Well, I hung up my umbrella and my coat, and then I came out the main part of the bank, right out where those 2 assassins were.
And that's when you saw them, is that right?
Oh, no, they were cagey. They waited until I was away from the alarm system. They were real sly.
I see. Go ahead.
I walked out the tables. You know where the deposit slips are out in the center?
Yes, ma'am.
Out there.
Mm-hmm.
I walked out straight and up. It really isn't my job, but I didn't have anything else to do, so I thought I'd maybe just check and see if any of the points needed new nibs. I like a neat place. You know, all the slips in the right place, blotters all clean and new. Neat.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. When did you see the thieves?
As I was straightening up the counter. That's when they stepped out in the open.
Where were they, ma'am?
Over in the escrow department, hiding behind the desks, I guess. That's the direction they came from.
I see. Now, what'd they say to you?
The big one. He looked at me with his steely eyes and told me to be quiet and nothing would happen. Said to be just quiet. I'm not young anymore, Sergeant. A thing like that can be a tremendous shock.
Yes, ma'am. Were both of the men together at that time?
I don't understand.
Well, did they both come out from behind the counter?
Oh, yes. The big one had a machine gun, and the other, the little scrawny one, had a pistol.
Now, you're positive the big one had a machine gun?
Listen, young man, I've seen enough movies and television to know a machine gun when I see it. Don't you think I don't?
Now, about the pistol, was it a revolver or an automatic?
What?
Well, look here. Did it look like this gun of mine?
No, it wasn't like that. It was more the kind you see in movies. More mean-looking than that. Real mean-looking, kind of flat-like.
I see. It was an automatic then, huh?
Well, I don't know what it was, but it was real mean. And furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised if there were real bullets in it. Not in the least.
All right. Now, after they came out from behind the counter, what happened?
They asked me what time the rest of the staff came in.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, any time. That seemed to make them happy.
Why you say that?
Because one of them, the big one, turned to the little runt and said, just like clockwork. That's what he said. Just like clockwork. I'm going to tell you something. Sort of a clue.
Yes, ma'am. What's that?
These fellas been planning this a long time. They knew all about how the bank works, what time everybody comes in and all. They even knew about the keys.
What keys?
The ones to the bank door. They knew who had them.
Uh-huh.
First thing they wanted to know after they asked about the staff was where my key was.
You have a key to the vault?
No, not to the vault itself. Just to the doors in front of it. You know the barred doors in front of the vault door?
Yes, ma'am.
To those.
Uh-huh.
Did you give the men your key?
I didn't have much to say about it. I told you, I think they might have had real bullets in those guns, and I wasn't about to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
After all, I pay my taxes. Catching those fellas is your job, not mine. If you want to cash a check, I can take care of you. But I'm not about to go out and apprehend no thieves.
Yes, ma'am. What happened then?
You mean after I gave them the key?
That's right, yes.
They made me get off to one side of the front doors and wait for the rest of the staff. As they'd come in, the hold-up men would make them get into the closet in the rear of the bank, where I hung my umbrella.
Yes, ma'am. But they let you stay outside, did they?
Oh, yes, they had me right up in front, with those guns pointed at me every second. Every second. I guess they wanted me to act as kind of a decoy.
Ma'am?
Well, when the other people who work in the bank came up to the door, they could look inside and see me standing there. That way, I guess they thought there wasn't anything wrong. Came right in, like lambs to the slaughter. Next thing they knew, there was a gun in their ribs and they was locked up in the closet.
Mm-hmm. What time did the manager come in?
Poor Mr. Blanton. He's not well, you know. He's not well at all.
Yes, ma'am. We saw him out front.
Is he all right? He had an awful attack. Bad heart.
Well, they've taken him to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
Did they find his pills?
What's that?
His pills. Mr. Blanton had a special kind of pills he takes when he has an attack. Some kind of explosive. Always has them with him. Did the men find him?
Well, I guess they did, or else they had the necessary medication with him. He's going to be all right. Just needs some rest.
I'm glad of that. Sweet man.
Mm-hmm.
Widower.
What happened when he came in?
Mr. Blanton?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he was just about pulled right in off the streets. He just got his key in the door, and they practically just yanked him right in. Right away wanted his key to the vault door. You have to have both of them in order to open it. Both of them have to be turned at the same time.
I see.
They asked him for his key. At first, he didn't want to give it to him. Told him to get out of his bank and to stop the foolishness. Just like that, he told him. I thought they were going to shoot him, but they didn't. I think if it hadn't been for the big one, they would have. The scrawny one wanted to kill Mr. Blanton right in cold blood.
Uh-huh.
But the big one stopped him. Said to just get on with the job and get out of there. That's what he said, to get out of there. That's when Mr. Blanton passed out, cold, right on the floor. Attack.
You want to go ahead?
Well, I guess they just about had a fight between themselves over that.
Well, how do you mean?
The big one really read the runt off. Told him he was stupid for making poor Mr. Blanton pass out. Said that now they'd have to wait for the combination of the safe. But I stopped that.
How's that?
I gave him the combination.
You told him how to open the safe?
Certainly. With poor Mr. Blanton laying there on the floor, all I could think about was them getting out of there. That's all that was important.
That's when they opened the safe, did they?
Yeah. Went right over to Mr. Blanton and got his key out of his pocket and unlocked the door. By then, the lock had switched off, and they just opened up the vault and went in. Cleaned it right out. Just scooped up the money and put it in a black bag and left. First off, of course, they locked me up in the closet with the others, and then they left.
Now, who turned in the alarm?
I guess it was Mr. Blanton. He was laying on the floor where he'd fell. I guess he came to enough to get to the alarm system and turned it on. Must have been him. Wasn't anybody else who could have done it.
Mm-hmm. During the time the men were in the bank, did you hear them use any names?
I don't think I understand what you mean.
Well, do they call each other by name at any time?
Not that I heard. Is it important?
Well, it'd help.
I didn't hear him use any, but if worse comes to worse, I can do something about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I've got a couple for him.
We obtained a complete description of the hold-up pair, and a supplemental broadcast was put out. The crime lab crew came out to the scene and went over the premises for physical evidence. From their investigation, we found that the bandits had made their entrance through a rear window. They'd sawed through the steel bars and broken the glass. From there, they'd come in and apparently had waited for the employees to arrive. We'd ascertained from the cashier that both men had worn gloves, so there was no chance of getting any fingerprints. In the dirt on the alley pavement, Lee Jones was able to find several good impressions of footprints. These were photographed and booked as evidence. Because of their placement, it was more than likely that they belonged to the thieves. Also in the alley, he found several broken hacksaw blades. These were booked, their numbers noted, and a request sent to the manufacturer for the name of the store that had sold them. The other employees of the bank were questioned, and they verified the story and the description that we'd gotten from the cashier. The staff's office started a run on the M.O. used, and the victims were taken downtown and asked to go through the mug books. They were not able to give us an identification of the thieves. That afternoon at 3:47 p.m., Frank and I met back in the squad room.
Hi.
Hi.
How'd the stats office do?
Well, I got the list right here, 18 possibles.
Yeah. Any of them look good?
Couple. Skipper around?
No. We went over to the inspector's office. Anything special?
Well, I wanted to check with him on who's going to work with us on this thing.
We left word. Murph and Gaffney are with us. We can use Pinky and Stromwell if we need them.
Is Murph around?
No, I went down to R&I. He had a hunch this might tie in with a heist they worked on last month. Same M.O. Figured he might as well check it out.
Well, as soon as he gets back, maybe he'll give us a hand with this list, huh?
Yeah.
How about the bank manager? Any word there?
I called Georgia Street, talked with Dr. Sebastian. He said Blanton has been released to his own doctor.
What kind of conditions is he in?
Should be able to talk to him tonight. Guess it was a pretty bad attack. Sebastian said he was in rough shape.
Well, let's check out. We can tag Murph in the hall. Is Gaffney with him?
He was.
All right, let's go. You want to sign us out?
Yeah.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, he's here. Just a minute. For you, Frank.
Okay. You want to take care of the book?
Yeah.
Who is it?
He didn't say. Just want to talk to you.
Oh. Smith speaking. Yeah, that's right. Huh? Yeah, sure we can. Yes, sir, we can right away. Mm-hmm. You want to give me that address? Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I have it. Yeah, right away. Goodbye. It's Blanton's doctor.
Yeah.
Says he wants to see us right away.
Yeah, what about?
Well, Blanton says he remembers that when the thieves left the bank, a customer came up to the door.
Yeah.
He heard the big one tell the other one to take off his mask.
Uh-huh.
The customer got a good look at both of them.
We left the office immediately and drove over to the bank manager's home. We talked with his doctor, and we obtained permission to ask a few questions. Blanton told us that as the two thieves had left the bank, a woman passerby had noticed the bank manager's key still in the front door lock. She'd stopped and knocked at the door to notify someone in the bank about the keys. As she did, the two hold-up men had taken off their masks and passed directly in front of her. We asked Blanton if he knew the woman, but he said that he'd never seen her before. We asked if it was possible that she might be a customer of his bank. He said it was possible that he'd just never seen her before. He gave us her description, and we started to check with the bank employees in the hopes that one of them could identify her. None of them could. We got out a supplemental bulletin asking that the woman be picked up. In the meantime, Officers Murphy and Rafferty had checked out the list of possibles that the stats office had come up with. All of the names on the list either had alibis or could establish that they were not near the bank when it was robbed. We checked all FI cards filed in the area without result. Frank and I checked out of the office at 12:18 a.m. and went home to get some sleep. The next day, Wednesday, June 3rd, Frank was waiting for me when I got to work.
Don't sit down. We got a call to make.
Yeah?
Marie Logan called. You remember the rental car agent out in the valley?
Oh, yeah. She gave us a hand on the identity of that young fellow that knocked over the liquor store out at Tilden and Ethel, wasn't it?
That's the one.
Well, what she got?
Might be nothing, but we ought to check it out.
Uh-huh.
Says there's a woman who hangs around the local bars mooching drinks. Never got a dime.
Yeah?
She came in to see Marie yesterday afternoon. Wanted to rent a car to drive to New York.
Where do we fit in?
She wanted to pay in advance.
Yeah.
Offered Marie brand new $100 bills.
From the statement we'd gotten from the bank, we knew that in the $34,000 the thieves had taken, there were several $1,000s in $100 bills. Frank and I signed out of the office and drove out to the San Fernando Valley. At the corner of Valley Hart Boulevard and Dickens, we found Marie Logan's rental agency. There was a line of late model cars in front of the lot, and at the rear, we found a small wooden building. Frank knocked at the door, and we waited.
Yeah. Oh, hi, it's you.
Hello, Miss Logan.
Miss Logan?
Hi, Sergeant, Mr. Smith. Come on in.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Sure hope I haven't brought you guys out here on a wild goose chase. Hope it works out.
All right, you want to fill us in?
This woman, name's Betty Gallick. Hangs around the bars in the neighborhood, spends her time cadging drinks. Real bum.
Mm-hmm. Why do you figure we might be interested?
A couple of times she's come in to rent a car just to use around town. First few times I was stuck.
How do you mean?
Checks. She'd pay the deposit with a check. Then when she brought the car back, she'd pay the bill by check.
I see.
Check would bounce. Then when I'd call her, she'd come in and pick it up and give me the cash to cover it. That was the only reason I didn't turn it over to you. She always paid up.
Mm-hmm. Now, this time she had the cash, though.
Yeah. Came in, wanted a new Lincoln to drive to New York. She was dressed like always. Cheap cotton dress, cloth coat, even had the imitation leather purse. Kind that's supposed to look like real leather, but as soon as you get inside 10 feet, you know it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think
That kind. Well, anyway, when she asked for the car, I told her I couldn't let her have it, said I'd been stung too many times before. So right off, she said she wanted to pay cash. That's when she opens his crummy purse, and the dough almost fell out. Must have had a couple of $1,000 in there, maybe more.
Well, you said something on the phone about $100 bills.
Yeah. She pulled out a couple of them to show me she could pay cash. I asked her where she got them.
What'd you say to that?
She said it wasn't any of my business. Told me as long as she had the money and a driver's license, I should ought to rent her the car. I thought I ought to check with you first.
Now, you got an address on this Gallic woman?
Yeah. After I called this morning, I checked through the records. Got her home address and the driver's license number.
She got any friends you know of?
Just about on every bar stool where she hung out.
I mean anyone special.
Oh, I don't know. I saw her a couple of times with the same guy in the place down at the corner. Hot days, I sometimes go down there for a beer. Well, I've seen her there with this one guy a couple of times.
You know who he is?
No, not his name. I've seen the two of them drive away together a couple of times. He's got a flashy convertible. Guess he drove it out here.
Well, how do you mean?
The car's got a New York license plate. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Logan Rental Service. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I know her. Yeah. You sure about that? Sure. Okay. Thanks. Goodbye. That tears it.
What's wrong?
There was a rental agency in Hollywood. Called to ask me about Betty Gallic. Seems she gave me as a reference.
Yeah.
Came into their place and rented a car from them. Paid cash for it.
Was she there now?
No. She left for New York this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
One of the biggest comedy hits of the year. That's how the movie critics are describing Bob Hope's latest Paramount picture, Casanova's Big Night. Like so many other millions of smokers, Bob and Audrey Dalton, who appears with him in the picture, say Chesterfields for me. First, Audrey Dalton.
I changed to Chesterfield King Size because I think it's better than any other King Size cigarette.
Bob Hope says,
5 years. That's how long I've been smoking Chesterfields. And they have what it takes to satisfy me. What's more, I've seen how they make Chesterfields down in their Durham factory. And I wouldn't smoke any other cigarette. Try Chesterfields yourself. You'll find they're best for you, too.
Yes, either way, regular or king size, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield.
We contacted the rental agency that had leased the car to Betty Gallic. From them, we got a description of the car and the license number. We put out a local and an all-points bulletin on the vehicle. We got in touch with the New York authorities and asked them to be on the lookout for the car. We got the Gallic woman's address from the rental agency, and we checked out her house. We found nothing to give us any indication as to where she might have gone, but we did find a silk scarf similar to the one described by the victims as having been worn by the hold-up men. We checked with the neighbors, but none of them could tell us where Betty Gallic had gone. 2 days went by while we followed down every lead that turned up. The information from the crime lab was checked out, but it led us nowhere. The serial numbers on the hacksaw blades had come back, but when we talked to the store owner, he was unable to tell us who had bought them. Saturday at 12 noon, a meeting was held in the offices of Thad Brown. Members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation were there. They had agents working on the case, but they hadn't been able to come up with any more information than we'd gotten. 2:14 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office.
The chief was your man.
Well, do you blame him? We haven't got very much.
Well, seems like every time we do get a lead worth anything, it goes to nothing.
Yeah, well, it's got to end someplace. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, We did? No, when? Yeah, right. No, I'll be right down to pick it up. Yeah, thanks. Bye. Those communications. They just got a wire from Chicago.
Yeah?
They picked up the Gallic woman. Betty Gallic had been picked up south of Chicago and held in answer to our communication. However, when she was picked up, she was in the company of 2 other women. They were identified as her sisters. We made arrangements to talk to her by long-distance telephone. As soon as we started to ask her questions regarding the bank robbery, she admitted being the driver of the getaway car. She told us that the theft had been planned by a man she knew only as Dean. She was unable to tell us any more about him. She went on to say that she'd met him in a bar in the valley along with the other 2 men. She identified these 2 men as Richard and Matt. She was unable to give us their last names or tell us any more about them. She did say, however, that Matt was from New York and that as far as she knew, he was there at the time. She went on to say that he was not with the trio when the bank was held up. We questioned her further, but she was unable to give us any additional information on the three men. She did, however, tell us that they had stayed at a motel located on Sepulveda Boulevard. She gave us the name and the approximate location. She was detained pending extradition in Chicago. Saturday evening, Frank and I drove out to the motel that the Gallic woman had mentioned. We rang the bell and waited.
Yeah? Lights on. We got no vacancies.
Police officers, we want to ask you some questions.
What about?
A couple of men who stayed here.
Anybody in this place who's got trouble with the cops has to get out. You tell me who they are, and I'll throw them right at you. I don't want no trouble. Now, who are you looking for?
One of them's tall, the other's short. Named Dean and Richard.
What about the last name?
We haven't got that.
I don't need it. I know who you mean.
Yeah.
Sure, Dean Franklin, Dick Norton, a couple of no goods. They ain't here no more.
You know where they are?
I'm not sure. I think maybe I got an address in my desk. Come on in.
Thank you.
I'm Jim Allison.
Well, this is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
What have the boys done?
Just routine. We want to talk to them.
You won't tell me, huh?
It'll be better if we talk to them about it.
Well, have it your own way. I don't want to get mixed up in anything. Those boys got themselves a bucket of trouble. I want no part of it. While they was here, they paid their rent and didn't cause much trouble. That's all I was interested in, as long as they didn't cause any trouble.
Yes, sir. How long ago did they leave?
I guess it's about a week ago. I got it in the books. I can check it for you if you want.
Yes, sir. We'd like to have the information.
Sure, I'll get it for you.
They have any visitors while they were here?
A couple of guys come around in the morning. That's about it, though. Look like bill collectors. The boys never let them inside. Used to talk on the porch.
Mm-hmm. The three of them move out at the same time?
No. Matt left a couple of days before. Said he was going back east. I think he had some kind of a job back there. They wasn't real chummy, you know. Kind of kept to themselves.
All right, sir. Would you see if you got that address where they might be?
Oh, sure. Forgot all about it. It's in the desk, I think. Always running into this kind of thing with a motel.
Yes, sir. What's that?
Wrong people renting rooms. We got no way of checking on them. Seems like whenever somebody's got trouble, they pick a motel to have it, and it never ends. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. They left this in case I got any mail for them. Said just to send it on. Here you are.
Thank you.
It's a place out in West Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, sir.
Glad to help out. You can't tell me what this is about, huh?
No, sir. It's police business.
You figure you're going to have any trouble with them?
Well, it's hard to say. It'll depend on how they want it.
Well, if I was you, I'd take it easy picking them up.
Why?
Because I know Franklin's got a gun.
We obtained the license number and a description of the car that the suspects had driven. It was a late model convertible with New York license plates. Before we left the motel, we called R&I and checked the names Dean Franklin and Richard Norton. We found that both of them had long felony records. We talked to Captain Donahoe and had two more teams of men sent out from the office to meet us at the address that we'd gotten from the motel manager. From what we knew of the two men, taking them into custody would be difficult. Frank and I left the motel and drove out to the address in West Los Angeles. It was a one-story wooden building set well back on a weed-filled lot. A late model car was in the driveway. 10 minutes after we got there, Officers Murphy, Rafferty, Meade, and Leitner met us. Murphy had brought two sawed-off shotguns loaded with double-aught buck and several tear gas grenades. The only chance we had of taking the men without bloodshed was to use the one element on our side. Surprise. Murphy and Rafferty went around to the street at the back of the house, and Leitner took the other. When all of us were in position, Frank and I prepared to move up to the front door. You all set? Just a minute. All right, let's go. I don't see anything. Well, they might have seen us. You better take it easy.
Right.
All right, let's make it for the porch.
Yeah.
Come on. You okay?
Yeah.
All right, now I'll take the door. When we get inside, you go to the left, I'll handle the right side.
Right.
You all set?
Yeah.
Now. How about it? Nothing. Place is empty. We searched the house, but we found no trace of the suspects. From the clothing in the closets, we figured that they had not moved out. And going over the house, we found a machine gun hidden in one of the bedrooms. The cartridge clip was loaded, and the gun was ready for use. We pulled the clip, called the office, and told them where we were, and then we settled down to wait for the suspects to return. Murphy and Rafferty covered the rear approaches to the house. Meade and Leitner were in cars parked down the street, and Frank and I waited in the front room. At 10:46 p.m., the phone in the house rang 3 times, and then it stopped. We waited for Franklin and Norton to come back. 11 p.m., 11:30. Still no sign of them. Started to get cold in the house. Midnight. 12:30, the phone rang again. 12:45. From down the street, we heard a car approach.
Joe?
Yeah.
You see anything?
Just a minute. Pull that curtain back. Yeah. It's a Ford sedan coming down this way.
Uh-huh.
It's pulled into the driveway. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's them.
Just the two of them?
Near as I can tell, yeah. They're getting out of the car.
Yeah. How about Lightner and Meade?
Yeah, they see them. They're starting to get out of the car down there. Better cover the door. They're coming in.
Right.
Police officer, stand still.
Run, Vic, run!
Get the other one, Frank.
Hold it up. Hey, Meade, Lightner, he's coming at you. No, hold it up. We got him, Frank.
All right, Franklin, turn around.
How'd you get to us? Who told you?
Put your hands behind you.
Who told you we were here? Somebody had to tell you. You'd never have got us without somebody tipping you. It was that lush Betty, wasn't it? It was her that told you.
All right, outside. Come on, move.
Had to be her. She was the only one that knew. Had to be her. You'd never have made it without her.
You're wrong.
Huh?
We'd have made it. Come on.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 14th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Thousands of smokers all across the country are now changing to Chesterfield. We'd like you to give them a try, too. I know you'll like them because the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. For the taste you want and the mildness you want, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king size, Chesterfield.
Dean Roger Franklin, Richard Henry Norton, and Betty Elaine Gallick were tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life. Further investigation showed that Matthew Arthur Ross had no part or knowledge of the crime. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Helen Klebe, Georgia Ellis, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Dane Clark in Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
The world it goes around in. It's about the big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The whiskey matches the color of your money. It's a fairly quiet crib, never any real serious trouble. The competing torpedoes in town regard it as a sort of a neutral zone, a place to meet and maybe talk things over before going to the gun. The Switzerland of Kansas City. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who has only two things in his life, dollars and cents. We start grinding every night at about 10, and we play till the cash register tape gives out. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like and pays off with a smile. Sometimes we even manage to get a few bucks. The last night we were dragging through the lull hour of the first set when the distinguished old guy came in. I'd seen him in the place many times before, always with the Dutchman and two or three of the Dutchman's guns. He'd sit at their table, letting their whispers float around his gray hair, never taking part, just sit quiet, gaining slowly on the open bottle in front of him, staring at a point that probably didn't exist. This was the first time I'd seen him without the Dutchman. He started to sit at the usual place, hesitated, looked around the half-filled room, took the small table in the corner near the bar. He smiled up at me as he poured his first drink. There was nobody behind it. We went into the wind-up.
Man, we sure drag heel tonight. What's up next, Pete?
Nothing. My lip's raw. Let's get off for a while.
You're burning that lip at both ends, Petey. Slow down.
You want a beer at the bar, Red?
No, thanks, Petey. I'll catch me a hunk of fresh air in the alley.
All right. On your way out, throw some nickels in the pianola, will you?
Right. See you later.
Yeah?
Forgive me, I spoke quite on impulse. I find myself the sudden victim of an overwhelming desire for companionship.
Yeah. I see you're alone tonight.
I'm alone every night. Well, please sit down, if only for a minute.
All right.
Thank you. What will you drink?
A little of that ginger ale will do fine. You expecting your friends?
That's the one thing I can count on tonight, the arrival of my friends. I should like to compliment you, Mr. Kelly.
On what?
Your music. I must confess I don't really understand it, but I do understand and recognize one thing, faith. You play your cornet as though you believe in it.
Thanks.
That is a priceless thing, Mr. Kelly. Faith and the belief in something. Never lose it, sir. Because when you do, you're lost yourself.
Yeah. Well,
No, please. Just sit another small minute.
All right.
I lied to you, Mr. Kelly. I told you I wanted companionship. No. What I really want is an audience. There are so many things I want to say and so little time left in which to say.
Sounds like you're about to get married. Have another drink, huh?
You think I'm drunk, don't you? Well, you're right, I am. But not on whiskey.
Yeah. You're scared, aren't you? Is that it?
Yeah. Feel my heart expending enough energy to power a modest side dance.
What are you afraid of?
All evening I've been asking myself that same question. What am I afraid of? Surely it can't be the loss of life. And yet...
You sick?
With a disease for which neither man nor magician has yet been able to effect a cure. The wrath of a killer.
You're a target, is that it?
I, as you so graphically put it, am a target.
The Dutchman?
The Dutchman.
Look, I don't make this. Right now, you should be 2 yards the other side of Baffin Bay.
Streets are lined with the Dutchman's gun.
But you gotta make a pass at it. You can't just say, okay, here's my head with a 50-cent cigar in it. Don't you want to live?
I thought not. My adrenals refuse to concur.
Look, isn't there somebody to help get you out of town? A friend?
I have no friend, except the Dutchman.
The law? Yeah. Now, look, I gotta get back up there. Take this key. Hotel George, around the corner. Go up to my room. There's no reason for him to look for you up there. We'll think of something.
Do you think so? Do you really think so?
Now, look, we're going to try. If we can't, we'll need 2 50-cent cigars. Now, go on.
P?
Yeah, Red.
What's the matter with the senator?
Nothing 1,000 miles won't cure. All right. Let's do goose pimples. All right, everybody ready? I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. Red, take over. I'm going to duck out for a while.
What's wrong, Petey?
My lip. It's starting to limp.
Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Mr. Kelly? Which Mr. Kelly?
How many Mr. Kellys you got in this crib?
Never mind, Jamie.
You asked the punk nice, is he, Mr. Kelly, so he gives you with a snotty which Mr. Kelly?
All right, Jamie. Please forgive Jamie. He hasn't had much sleep lately. Yeah, will you wake him up and tell him there's another Kelly? Bob Kelly works downstairs in the plant. Maybe he's the boy you want.
No, we're looking for Pete Kelly.
Yeah?
Yes, Pete Kelly.
Oh, not Bob Kelly.
Not Bob Kelly, Pete Kelly.
Yeah. Well, I'm Pete Kelly.
I'm Pete Kelly.
We'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure.
Outside?
Outside?
Just in the alley. Private.
Yeah, well, I'd like to oblige you, but you see, friend, I got a job to do here.
Outside.
All right, Jimmy. Mr. Kelly understands.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Red.
Yeah. Smoke, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. You like my brand?
Your brand?
Gold Tip, you like it?
Yeah, sure. I never smoke anything else.
There was an elderly gentleman inside this evening. He also smokes some. Did you smoke one of his?
Elderly gentleman?
Yes, about 55, my height, gray hair, blue eyes. He sat at your table. He had a nice drink with him. You smoked a cigarette of his.
Sorry, I haven't seen anybody all night.
All right, Terry, let's get to it. Stop with the circle talk.
Easy.
We got the rumble you was talking to.
Well, you're wrong.
Were you? All right. Go on me.
That's enough. Yeah, all right. Now, you listen, Junior. The next time you put your hands on me, you walk away without them.
You deserve that, Jamie. You have to learn when to and when not to. Jamie's young, Mr. Kelly. He thinks he has to make his reputation in one night.
Can he be friendly? Can he be nice? Can he be honest? Why can't he tell us the truth and let us go about our business?
That's fair enough. Isn't that fair enough, Mr. Kelly? Isn't Jamie right this time?
Yeah, sure.
Seems to me he's being fair. Seems to me he's right this time.
I'm always fair. I just asked for cooperation.
That's it. That's all. That's all we ask. Just cooperation. And, mister, you're going to cooperate. Army surplus, mister. This gun's been to France and back.
What do you want?
Small hunk of truth. You sat and talked to this gentleman?
You see? He ain't going to cooperate.
Yeah, I talked to him.
What about?
This and that.
What's this and what's that?
Music.
What else?
Horses.
What else?
Women.
What else?
That's all.
You're lying.
Terry says you're lying. He knows. It's his business to know.
Music, yes. Horses and women, no, not him. You're lying.
He was drunk.
How drunk?
Drunk enough to talk about horses and women?
What's his name?
He didn't say.
Where's he now?
I don't know.
You saw him go?
I left him at the table.
All right.
That's it, Terry?
For now. Mr. Kelly says he doesn't know where he is. Maybe he's telling the truth.
You got it all.
But if you're lying, Jamie's going to come back and see you alone.
Well, I didn't need Einstein to figure it out for me. They were a couple of the Dutchman's guns. Assignment, rub out of one old party. Method, burn down anybody in the way. And from here on in, they'd cuddle closer to me than a baby kangaroo to its mother. Well, I had to get that old party out of my room fast. I told Red to keep the boys working, and I went on the prowl for Barney Ricketts. Barney's an ex-bootlegger. He went broke in 1922. Nobody's been able to figure out how a bootlegger could go broke in 1922, and Barney refuses to tell the secret of his failure. He did it the hard way, and he isn't going to make it easy for anybody else. He wasn't at Sour Sammy's joint. He hadn't shown at Papa Pastor's, and I was starting to worry when I caught up with him at Joe Donegan's over on 12th Street. As usual, he was boiled and loud.
Ah, Pete Kelly, the Kansas City Gabriel.
Listen, Barney, I need a favor.
Without evasion, Petey, I tell you right out that your arrival is ill-timed.
A major league favor.
I was just about to pour a potion, and now I'm forced to ask you to share it with me.
No, Barney, look, there's no time.
That's your trouble, Petey. No true understanding of the meaning of time. Do you know what time in the life of one man really is? I mean, the nature of it and its function.
Yeah, I know all about it. Now, listen, Barney.
Of course you don't, and it isn't many men who will so frankly confess their ignorance. That's what I admire most about you, Petey. Your honesty in admitting to your abundant ignorance.
All right, Barney.
No, you mustn't be disheartened. The very fact that you know that you don't know is a hopeful sign. It means that you are ready to learn, and I will be your guide, counselor, and teacher.
Yeah.
Now then, take time.
All right.
And to properly understand the true nature of time, you must take time to understand it. Regard time as a valise. To each man at birth, such a valise is given, some large, some small, according to his destiny. That is the one thing which he cannot really choose, the size of the valise which we call time.
You all through now?
Yes, what are we going to put into your valise this time?
Maybe a hunk of hope for a guy who needs it.
What's his problem?
He was sitting in 417. I talked to him.
A mobster?
No, educated, cultured, gentle.
I see. A dangerous man.
No, he was lost, Barney. Lost and frightened. The kind of fright that freezes you when you're on the other side of a gun.
I see. Who fingered him?
The Dutchman.
The Dutchman?
That's right.
Tell me, is he about 55, gray hair, blue eyes?
That's right.
And you don't know who he is?
No, he didn't say.
Well, Peter, you're right and you're wrong. He's educated, cultured, gentle. But you're wrong about helping him. Nothing you or anyone else can do can stretch his valise.
Why not?
Because the Dutchman says no, that's all.
Well, who is he?
Dr. Jonathan Budd, an excellent surgeon and general practitioner.
But what's he got to do with the Dutchman?
For the last 2 years, he's been under exclusive contract to the Dutchman, sort of company medic for the Dutchman's torpedoes. On call 24 hours a day. Remove an appendix or a bullet as the circumstances may require.
I don't make it, Barney. A man like that. Why would the Dutchman want to send him over?
I don't know, Petey, and I don't want to know. Go back to Lupo's, pick up your horn, and forget all about Dr. Budd.
I can't do it.
Heed me, Petey. The Dutchman says drop dead, he'll drop dead. Don't be near him when he falls. Don't get into this, Petey.
I'm already in, Barney. I sent him up to my room.
You didn't?
He's there now, waiting for me.
Get him out of there.
I had to help him, Barney. You can't just stand by and send him into the street to be cut down. A man has to have somebody to worry about him, somebody to help him.
Get him out of there.
I can't.
Why not?
I'm being watched.
By the gun?
Yeah.
You sure?
They got the buzz I was sitting with him. They're keeping a string on me.
Petey, you fool. How long do you think it'll be before they get into your room?
That's why I came to you, Barney.
No, Pete, not this time. Not where the Dutchman...
Look, they're on my back, Barney. I'll draw the guns off. Back to Lupo's. You get him out, Barney. You can do it.
And what do I do with him once I got him? Ask him what he'll charge to cut you out of my life?
Take him to the other side of the river, over to Fat Annie's. Tell Maggie Jackson. She can fold him into the shed out back. He'll be safe there.
Fine. He can make a new life for himself in Fat Annie's shed.
I'll think of something. I'll shake the guns after I get back to 417, and I'll think of something.
You do that, Petey, because if you don't, you'll be dragging a full valise before morning.
Well, I scuttled back through the streets, back to 417 Cherry. The guns were right behind me. My valise was getting fuller and heavier by the minute, and I knew I'd added a few pounds to Barney's. But that's the way it is. The guy drifts into your life, holds out a finger for help, and you take hold, and you're near to drifting out of it with him. But what can you do? You gotta take hold, or you don't sleep so good anymore. Well, Lupo glared at me with his "what am I paying you for" glare as I ducked into the joint. I started for the bandstand, and I didn't get past the bar.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you.
Yeah?
Could I talk to you?
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
Someplace alone?
What about?
It's about my name's Mary Budd.
Oh, come on, behind the bandstand.
Thank you.
Let's go, Petey. Lupo's just docked us another fin.
I'll be right with you, Red.
Yeah.
All right.
I was told you saw
Saw who?
my father,
Lots of fathers coming here. Who's yours?
Dr. Budd. Dr. Jonathan Budd.
You drive a car?
Yes.
Your license with you?
Yes.
Let me see it. Thanks. All right. Now pay attention. Your father's in trouble. The big trouble.
Why? What's happened?
The Dutchman took a dislike to him.
Who's the Dutchman?
You don't know?
My father never told me anything.
Well, you're a big girl now. The Dutchman's a man with a gun. He's pointing it at your father. All right, now hold on. Maybe we can...
Why would anybody want to kill my father?
I don't know.
He's never hurt anybody in his life. Why would this man...
Look, lady, I got no answers for
Maybe
you.
if we could find out why... Maybe we could... Are you sure you have no idea?
All I know is the Dutchman said drop dead. There's no court of appeals for that.
Yes. I understand now.
But we still got a chance. It's skinny, but it's there.
Where's my father now?
He's being taken across the river. Fat Annie's place. Boulder Road. Is your car out front?
No, I left it downtown.
Good. Go get it. Make sure you're not tailed. Go to Fat Annie's. See Maggie Jackson. I'll try to shake the Dutchman's guns after the next number. But if I can't get over to Fat Annie's, you collect your father out of that shed and back. Hit the highway north on the Kansas side. Now, you got it?
I'll never forget you for this, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's settle down. Settle down, huh? What's up?
Newlyweds in from St. Joe been asking for a cornet solo for an hour.
All right, what do you think?
Well, how about Pigeon Toed Joe?
Oh, my lip and you asked for that? All right.
All right, Pigeon Toed Joe. You got it?
All right. I'll give you the pickup. That's all for me tonight, Red.
Let me see that.
Huh?
Yeah, you ain't fooling. Your lips bleeding.
We'll do the next set without me, huh?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's sure making the deducts tonight.
Where's the Erskine Park, Red?
Around on 10th Street. You better put the top up. Looks like rain.
Yeah, all right.
How long you gonna be gone?
Huh?
I said, how long you gonna be gone?
Depends on how much room is left in my valise. Well, I left the stand and headed for the men's room just like nothing was happening. I bolted the door behind me, crawled out through the small window, dropped into the alley, and lit out for 10th Street over fences and through backyards. Red's Erskine was right where it ought to be. I slammed over to 12th, rattled across the bridge, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Halfway there, it started to rain. Inside Fat Annie's, business was slow. There was nobody there. Maggie Jackson was making for a piano when I got inside.
Hi, Pete. I'm glad you got here. We got a tenant in the shed out back.
Yeah?
Yeah, with a short-term lease. Just a minute, Pete. All right, Ray. I ain't going nowhere, ain't seeing no one, no how. 'Cause love and I are parting, starting now. I'm on good behavior, so honey savior, hello. In answer to your passes, the laughter's no. I've been somewhere, seeing someone most every day of my sad life. I'm gonna trade in my mad life for something slow and safe, and so I ain't going nowhere, ain't gonna wrinkle my brow, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. That was nice, Ray. Place is really good tonight.
Yeah, business is bad all over. Look, Maggie, how about the guy in the shed? Is he all right?
He ain't bleeding none yet.
Where's Barney?
He just dropped the package like it was hot shipments and dusted.
The girl get here yet?
What girl's that?
The tenant's daughter.
No girl showed yet, Pete.
Well, the minute she shows, Maggie, send her outside, will you?
You going to the shed, Pete?
Yeah.
Best to go through the kitchen, straight out the back.
Sure. Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck.
Doc, it's Kelly. Pete Kelly, Doc.
Come in.
You all right, Doc?
Yes. The roof leaks and I've run out of cigarettes.
Sure. Here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give you a light.
That's good.
Yeah, now, look, I think we're home safe. I'm getting you out of here.
Tell me, why do you bark?
What?
I said, why do you bark?
Look, Doc, don't confuse me.
You're an anachronism, Mr. Kelly. A moral man in the immoral jungle.
Now, look, I talked to your daughter. She'll be here soon.
You talked to my daughter?
Yeah, that's right. She's coming to pick you up.
Small girl, red hair, blue eyes?
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly, I have no daughter.
You don't?
You talked to the Dutchman Smile.
Yeah, but the license, her driving license. She showed me her driving license.
Sure she did.
I believed her.
Yes, an excellent actress. And you told her where I am. Did she ask you anything else? What you might know about the Dutchman and me?
Well, she asked. I knew nothing.
You're sure? You're sure you told her you know absolutely nothing?
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're safe. You'll be all right. They'll forgive you for trying to help me. You finally did tell them where to find me, and for that, they forgive you.
All right, come on. Now, let's get out of here. Let's get
No,
moving.
Mr. Kelly, you'd better go quickly.
Well, I got a car. We'll make a run for it.
No.
But they'll be here any minute.
And I'll be waiting for them. No use to run anymore.
Yeah.
In some strange way, I've begun to realize that I'll welcome their arrival. But I don't want to escape. You see, it's impossible for a man to escape from himself. I am nothing more than the works I have done. It is those works which decide the ultimate fate of a man. Mine, and rightly so, are about to kill me. No, we cannot escape from what we have made of ourselves.
Yeah, but look, you can start all over again. There have been others like this before. They ran, took the chance and ran.
Strange. Things taught me in my youth. Things unremembered for years. My freshman days at school. and the words of Socrates when Crito urged him to delay the drinking of the hemlock as others before him had delayed. Yes, Crito, and they of whom you speak are right in so acting, for they think that they will be gainers by the delay. But I am right in not following their example, for I do not think that I should gain anything by drinking the poison a little later. I should only be ridiculous in my own eyes for sparing and saving a life which is already forfeit. Please, then, to do as I say, and not to refuse me. And so, I ask you, Mr. Kelly, don't refuse me. Go now, please, for your sake. I'm all right.
You're not all right. They're going to kill you. Don't you understand that?
I understand.
Yeah. Sure you do. There's nothing more I can do?
Nothing. Except perhaps a cigarette.
Sure. Take the pack.
No. 2 will do.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Kelly.
Goodbye, Doc.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Please leave the door open.
Yeah.
Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph record.
The proceeding was transcribed. Now join the great Gildersleeve on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. You get a report of drug addiction within a group of teenagers. You don't know if the information is true. Your job, check it out. Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfield's for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfield's for me, too.
As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:01 a.m. when I got to Georgia Street Juvenile. Squad room. Hi, Frank.
Well? Well, what do you think?
About what?
Ruth, what do you think?
Well, she's nice, sure.
Was that all you got to say?
Well, what do you want me to say?
Well, did you like her?
She's a nice girl, yeah.
You got another date with her?
No, I told her I'd call her sometime.
You said you'd call her, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say when?
No, I just said sometime.
Sometime. Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Why?
She's just not, Joe. She's not sure we had it this time.
Well, look, Frank, I think it's real nice of you and Faye to be concerned. I don't think that I don't appreciate it, but when you asked me over last night, I figured we were just going to have dinner and sit around and talk. I didn't know anything about this girl going to be there. Don't you think you should have told me? Let me know.
Joe, you like girls, don't you?
Well, of course I like girls.
Well, we couldn't have done that, you know. Would have loused the whole thing up if we told you ahead of time. We just wanted you to meet her. Get the full effect. Bang, like that.
Yeah, I got the full effect.
Well, we tried to set it all up for you. She is pretty, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
Blue eyes, red hair. I think she's real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Faye and me had the whole evening planned, right from the time you two met.
I kind of got that idea.
What do you mean?
Well, you're about as subtle as a water buffalo.
Now, you tell me where we were obvious. Go ahead, tell me.
Well, all right. First off, the music. That album of records of yours there. What's it called? Love Music or whatever it was?
Mood for Lovers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bought them special.
Yeah. And the flowers on the table?
Well, you got to have flowers. You got to have something for the center of the table.
You must have gone a long way for those. Orange blossoms? You had to have those. Huh?
Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Well, I'm very sorry about that, Frank.
Oh, we're just trying to show you the advantages of getting married.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you and Faye trying, but let me do it my way. Huh? Any mail this morning?
Huh?
Any mail?
Yeah, Skipper put a note in your box.
Okay. Tickets for the police show.
You got to sell tickets, huh?
Yeah, so do you. Here's your book.
You're not mad, are you, Joe?
Oh, man, it's just that all the time people are trying to be helpful, you know.
Well, I kind of hate to say it behind her back. I say I hate to say it behind her back, but it was Faye's idea. I didn't have any part in it.
Yeah.
Faye's idea.
Faye's idea.
You're sure you're not sore, huh?
No, I told you, man.
Sure?
I'm sure, Frank, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ruth.
What?
Look, it wasn't the fact that she was a redhead, was it?
Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skipper says to run this down. Thanks, Ed.
What do you got?
Take a look at this.
Huh? Dear sir, I have some information for you about a big dope ring. It's important I talk to you. I'll meet you at the streetcar stop at 7th and Broadway on the east side after 3:45 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday. That's today, huh?
Yeah. Read the rest of it.
I can't tell you my name now, but I'll be wearing a green skirt and a plaid sweater. I'll be standing right by the streetcar stop.
What do you think?
I don't know. No signature. You got anything in the envelope?
No. It's postmarked L.A., addressed to Juvenile Division. No way of telling where it came from.
Think it's from McCrae?
Well, there's one place we can find out.
Yeah.
7th and Broadway. The fact that the note had been addressed to Juvenile Division instead of Narcotics Detail indicated that the person who wrote it had some knowledge of the workings of the police department. It also led us to believe that the writer was a juvenile. We checked again with Captain Powers on the letter, and it was decided that we'd make the meet that afternoon. Frank and I spent the rest of the morning going over reports on a case that we just finished, and at 3:15 p.m. we left the office. Frank stopped the car at 8th and Broadway for a traffic signal, and I got out and walked the remaining block. There was no one at the streetcar stop dressed in a green skirt and a plaid sweater. While Frank circled the block, I waited. 3:40 p.m., still no sign. At 3:52, a woman of about 23 got off a streetcar and waited on the corner. She was wearing a dark green suit with a plaid blouse. I waited for some indication that she might be the person we were waiting for, but she gave none. Finally, she turned, walked across the street, and disappeared into the crowd. 4 o'clock, 4:15, still no sign of a letter writer. 4:30, 4:45. Frank pulled into a loading zone near the corner, and I went over to talk to him.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. She's an hour late now.
Uh-huh. Well, that note must have been from a crank.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, come on, get in. We better go back to the office.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, Joe.
What?
Right there crossing the street.
Oh, yeah. Matches the description.
Must be her.
Well, she's looking this way. I'll check it. She looked about 15. Brown hair and a thin young face. She was carrying an armful of school books. She paused in the corner and watched me. I walked up to her and told her I was a police officer. She nodded and then walked out to the safety zone and climbed onto a waiting streetcar. I followed her. She walked to the back of the car and took a seat. I sat down next to her. I could see Frank following us in our car. We rode 3 blocks before she spoke.
I'm sorry I was late.
It's all right.
I usually try to be on time, maybe even a little early. That's the way it should be, don't you think?
Well, what was it you wanted to talk about, miss?
I got hung up at school, couldn't get away when I thought I would.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm late.
Well, you said something in the note about a narcotics ring.
How much am I going to get involved in this?
What do you mean?
How deep am I going to get? I don't want any trouble myself. We're doing this to help somebody. But I don't want to get mixed up in it myself.
Well, maybe you better tell me what it's all about first, huh? We can decide the rest of it later.
That's the way it has to be?
Well, you called us, remember?
Yeah, I guess so.
What's your name?
Edna.
Your last name?
Well, that isn't going to help any. You don't need it.
How old are you?
15.
All right, what about this dope ring?
I want to tell you about it. A friend of mine is in pretty deep. I think she's hooked bad. I want to help her.
What's your friend's name?
You have to have that?
Well, we're not going to be able to do very much without it, are we?
Catherine. I can't give you her last name. I can't.
How old is she?
15.
All right, now what makes you think she's using narcotics?
I just know, that's all.
Well, that's a pretty serious charge. You must have some reason for saying it.
I've got a reason. I've got good reasons. You think I'd go to the cops if I didn't have? You think that?
What kind of narcotics do you think she's using?
Heroin.
You know that for sure, do you?
Yeah, I've seen her take a fix.
Where?
Hmm?
Where'd she take the fix?
I've seen her do it in her room at home. A place near school up at Lewis Apartments.
Louis?
Louis Conklin. He got Catherine hooked. He's the one I want to see you get.
How old's he?
Oh, I don't know. I think around 20, 21.
Where'd you meet him?
Down at Balboa last summer. Catherine and me went down for a week. We met them then, Louis and Vince.
You know this Vince's last name?
I think it's Beal.
B-E-A-L?
I guess so.
Well, these 2 boys, are they supplying Catherine with the heroin?
Yeah, they got it for her.
How'd you happen to meet them?
First day we were down at Balboa, we went down to the beach. We saw them then. We didn't talk to them right off, not the first day.
Uh-huh.
The next day, they came over to where we were and laid down on the beach. They had a portable radio, and they were playing it loud. They were playing it real loud.
Yeah.
Well, Louis asked us if they had the radio on too loud, and we said no. Then we got to talking.
All right, go ahead.
We found out that they knew a lot of the kids that go to our school, so we talked about them. We talked and listened to the radio.
Mm-hmm. Were either your or Catherine's parents with you?
No. Catherine's father's got a friend who lives at Balboa all the time. We were staying with her.
All right, go ahead.
After we knew him a week, one night they suggested that we go for a ride down the coast toward San Diego.
Now?
They'd never given us any trouble, so Catherine and me talked it over and decided to go. They'd never gotten fresh or anything, so we thought it'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
We drove down the beach, and then we stopped. Boys had some beer in the car, and we drank some of it, just a little. We didn't think it would hurt, just a little.
All right.
I guess we drank more than we thought, because we both got a little drunk. First time I ever got drunk. All I wanted to do was go home and go to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't feel good. I remember that. I didn't feel good.
Go ahead.
I got out of the car, and I walked around for a while. After I walked, I felt better, and I went back to the car. Catherine and the 2 boys were smoking. I could smell it when I got in the car. Real sweet. Sickening.
Marijuana?
Yeah. Vince asked me if I wanted some. I told him I didn't, and they all laughed again. Said I was just a little kid, called me chicken. So I did.
You smoked the marijuana, did you?
Yeah, but not very much. Got sick again, and I threw the stick away. That made Vince sore because I hadn't smoked very much. He got out of the car and found what was left of the cigarette and put it in a box he had. Then he got in the car, and the 3 of them all drank some more of the beer and smoked the rest of the marijuana. They were all laughing and yelling.
Catherine was smoking, too?
Yes, she was having a great time, laughing it up. Seemed like everything that happened was just about the funniest thing she ever heard. They were all laughing and telling me what a square I was. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. So I said if they wouldn't take me home, I'd walk.
And what'd they say to that?
Told me to go ahead. Said I was a drag anyway, and they'd be glad to get rid of me.
And you left them?
Yeah. I tried to get Catherine to go with me. She said she was having too good a time and she wasn't leaving. She told me to go home and to expect her when she walked in.
Yeah.
So I left. Got out of the car and walked up the highway. Was going to catch a ride back to town. Pretty scared, but I wanted to get back. I didn't feel very good. I waited for the car, but the ones that went by wouldn't stop. Then Vince and Louis and Catherine came by. They told me to get into the car, and we drove home. I had to wait out in front with Catherine until she sobered up. She said she was too drunk to go into the house.
What time did you get home?
Oh, it must have been 3 or 3:30.
Did you see Vince and Louis again?
Well, I didn't, but Catherine did. Every night we were there, she went out with them. I didn't want to have anything more to do with them. She told me if I said anything to the people we were staying with, she'd cause me a lot of trouble. I like Catherine. She's my best friend. I didn't want to see her get into any trouble. Thought when we left Balboa, she'd quit seeing the fellas. That's what I thought. She'd stop seeing them.
Did she?
No. When school started again, she was still going with Louis. I'd see her around the school, but she wouldn't have anything to do with me. Said I was a cube. Talking all the time about how she didn't know they grew corners like me anymore.
How'd you find out she was on heroin?
One day I saw her take a pop. She was at her house, and I came over to talk to her. She was pretty sick, and she went into her room. I went in after her to see if I could help, and I saw her taking a fix. After that, I didn't see much of her. I guess she didn't want me around, knowing she was hooked.
When was all this?
About 2 months ago. I've seen her a couple of times since. She looks real bad.
Her parents know anything about the narcotics?
I don't know. There's just her father. I don't think he cares much. If he does, he's not doing anything about it. I'm just telling you all this so you'll get Louis and Vince. They're the ones who started her. They're seeing that she gets the age.
You know where we can find them?
Yeah. Louis has a little apartment over in the Westlake area.
You know the address?
No, but I can show you where it is.
All right.
I just want to see you get them. Get them good.
Mm-hmm.
She was my best friend. Now she won't have anything to do with me. Nothing.
Well, maybe we can straighten it out.
What do you want to do now?
Well, first we better get off this streetcar. End of the line. Edna and I got off the streetcar and Frank picked us up. We stopped at a drugstore and put in a call to the office requesting that a policewoman be sent out to take the girl into custody. 10 minutes later, Officer Irene Gardner arrived, and the four of us drove over to the Westlake area. The young girl pointed out the building where she told us that Vince Beale and Louis Conklin lived. She gave us a description of the two suspects, and finally, after Miss Gardner had talked to her, she also gave us the full name of her friend, Catherine Pilgrim. We checked at the building and found that the two suspects occupied apartment 4G. Frank and I talked to the manager of the place, but she told us that the pair weren't in and she didn't know when they'd be back. We returned to the car and told Officer Gardner to take Edna to Georgia Street Juvenile and hold her until we could get there. After that, Frank called the office and ran the names Vincent Beale and Louis Conklin through R&I. They both had misdemeanor records in California, and Beale had served time in the county jail for possession of narcotics. We called Captain Powers and told him what had happened, and then we returned to the apartment and set up a surveillance. At 7:25 p.m., we heard someone coming down the hall.
Don't worry about a thing, honey. It's all going to be all right.
I'm sick, Vince. Real sick.
I know. I'll make a call, get you fixed up. Just calm down.
All right, hold it right there, police officers.
Hey, what are you doing in here? You got no right to break in like this. What's this all about?
I gotta go, Vince. I got it.
Hold it up, Miss Pilgrim.
How do you know who I am? What are you going to do?
Don't say anything, Kathy. Don't tell him nothing.
Turn around, Beale.
What for? What are you shoving me around?
Turn around.
Hey, turn around. I'll take him, Joe.
Stand
You
still.
won't find nothing, cop. I'm clean.
Call it nothing.
Where's Conklin?
You got to figure it's so good you'd tell me.
You better watch that mouth, kid. It's going to get you into trouble.
You tell me all about it, cop. I got no problem. What are you taking us in on? What's the charge?
Violation of the Narcotics Act and contributing.
Yeah? You didn't find anything on me. You didn't find anything in the pad. You've been on the spike, cop, and you know it. Now, why don't you run along, and I'll forget all about you being
All right, let's go.
Where are you taking me?
Downtown.
To jail?
Juvenile hall.
You going to call my father?
That's right.
Well, he won't tell you anything. He won't tell you a word.
Keep your mouth shut.
Why? I got nothing to hide. I'm not a hype. You ask my father.
Let me see your arms, Beale.
Huh?
Your sleeves. Roll them up. Come on, quick.
Here.
Where'd you get those marks?
You tell me.
Let me see your arms, Miss Pilgrim.
It's not going to prove anything. Not a thing.
Let me see them.
Go ahead, honey. If you don't go along with them, they bring out the rubber hose.
Somebody messed with you a long time ago.
Yeah.
Come on, Miss Pilgrim. Let me see your arms.
No. All right, here.
How about it, Joe?
Take a look.
Yeah.
Fresh needle marks. We called Narcotics Division and asked them to come out and go over the room in an attempt to find a trace of narcotics. We put in a call to the office, and Irene Gardner came out and took the Pilgrim girl into custody. A stakeout was set up on the apartment to apprehend the other suspect, Louis Conklin. Frank and I took Vince Beale to the office and questioned him for over an hour, but he failed to come up with his source of supply for the heroin. He was turned over to officers from Narcotics Detail and booked in at the main jail on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. A call had been put into the father of Catherine Pilgrim, and at 9:37 p.m. he arrived at the office.
Friday and Smith, where are you?
My name's Friday. What can I do for you?
I'm Robert Pilgrim. I want my daughter.
She's downstairs right now. A doctor's taking care of her.
What for?
Well, she's pretty sick, Mr. Pilgrim.
Sick? What's the matter? You've got no right to give her any kind of medication without my approval.
We couldn't reach you.
How hard did you try?
We called your home and your place of business. We got no answer. Our doctor thought it was best to give the girl something right away.
What's wrong with her? What are you doing to her?
Your daughter's a narcotic addict, Mr. Pilgrim.
That is a lie. Now, you get her up here right now. You hear me? You get on that phone and have her brought to this office right now. I'm taking her home.
Afraid we can't do that.
Who are you to tell me what's going to happen? I pay your salary, officer. Don't forget it. If you don't get on that phone and have my daughter brought up here right now, I'll make some calls and you'll be pounding the beat out in the Toolies. I've got a lot of friends in this town.
And you've got a daughter who's hooked bad.
Has she told you that?
No, sir. But all the tests point that way. She's got needle marks all up and down her arm.
Well, you better get out and find a lawyer fast because I'm going to pull that tin badge right off you.
Is that so?
You bet it is. How do I get a line?
Dial 9.
Hello, Jack. This is Bob Pilgrim. I'm down at the police station. Yeah, Kathy's here. The cop says she's a hophead. I want you to tell her. Here, you talk to him.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we did find hypodermic marks. I see. All right, sir, we'll be checking with you.
Now you'll get my daughter?
I'll have her sent right up. You want to come out in the hall, Frank?
Yeah. Who'd he call?
It's their family doctor. We might not have a case here.
What's the matter?
Well, the doctor says he's been treating the girl for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Been giving her hypodermic injections.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Tobacco has been one of man's basic pleasures for over 400 years. And the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. And when I say that, I mean Chesterfield Regular, I mean Chesterfield King Size. Remember, this is the cigarette that's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette that gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. The cigarette that has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. So join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Regular or king size. Always say, Chesterfields for me.
With the doctor's statement, there was nothing we could do but release the girl to her father pending further investigation. The parents of the teenager who had written us the first letter came to the office, and she was released to them. At 11:40 p.m. that night, we got word that the other suspect had returned to the apartment and had been taken into custody. He was identified as Louis Conklin, age 23. He was taken to the main jail and booked on the same charges as Vincent Beale. Their apartment was gone over, but no trace of narcotics was found. We questioned both suspects again, but they failed to cooperate with us. Frank and I checked out of the office and went home. The following morning, we drove out to see the doctor who had told me he was treating the Pilgrim girl. He said the girl was underweight and highly nervous and that he had been giving her vitamin injections. He went on to say that he'd stopped treating her 5 months previous at her father's request and that he had not seen the girl since then. February 11th, 10:24 a.m. We checked the car belonging to Vincent Beale. In the trunk, we found an expensive leather jacket. It looked too expensive to be worn by a man who had the reputation of never holding a job. We took the jacket over to the crime lab and had it checked. From a cleaning tag, we got the name of the cleaner who'd serviced the jacket. We contacted him, and he remembered the jacket as having been among several stolen from his store. With this information, we went back to the main jail and had the Conklin boy brought from his cell. He told us that the jacket belonged to Vincent Beale. He was brought into the interview room.
This leather jacket belong to you, Vince?
No, I never saw it before.
Conklin says it's yours.
I don't know. Maybe it is. What difference does it make?
Take a look. We want to know.
Yeah, it's mine.
Where'd you get it?
Where do you think I bought it? You know someplace you can get these without buying them?
Yeah, the same place you picked this one up.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
You know a man named Ted Hartman?
Who?
Ted Hartman.
Ted Hartman. Never heard of him.
He knows you.
Maybe he's got a better memory than me.
Says you used to work for him.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now, how about it?
Maybe I did. I had a lot of jobs.
The cleaner says you worked for him a couple of weeks last December.
That's a long time ago.
Says this jacket was stolen from him.
Well, where do I fit?
He thinks you stole it.
He's crazy.
He's sure enough to make a complaint.
They'll laugh him out of court.
Conklin says it's yours.
I told you I bought it.
Conklin wants no part of a burglary rap.
What'd Conklin tell you?
Maybe we ought to get your side of it, huh?
What'd he tell you? I got a right to know. Look, he's going to make a beef like that on me. I got a right to know what he said.
He wants no part of it. He lays it all on you.
He's no good. I had him figured for a guy I could trust. He did all right on the deal. Lou kept us both going.
What do you mean?
I thought he told you all about it.
Well, we want to hear it from you. A lot of times stories get all mixed up. Now we want to get it right.
Now, we knocked the place, but it was both of us. Lou was in on it all the way.
Go ahead.
We were scratching for H. We had it real bad. We needed some way out. I thought about the cleaning place. Figured we could score good. Well, we did all right. Took care of three of us for a long time.
You, Conklin, and the Pilgrim girl, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
What were you shooting?
Me and Lou kept it down. The Pilgrim kid, she built up fast. She was juicing 5 caps a day. I should have listened to Lou. He kept telling me to drop her, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything between us. It was just for laughs. And then all of a sudden she was hooked bad. We had to do something. We stole her jacket so we could keep her supplied. 5 caps a day. You know, that's a lot of H. I tried to break her down. I tried to cut her habit. I did what I could. You can see that, can't you? I did everything I could.
How much was that? 5:23 p.m. Frank and I, along with policewoman Irene Gardner, drove out to the Pilgrim residence. We went up to the front porch and rang the bell.
Yeah. What do you want?
I'd like to see your daughter.
Now, you get out of here. You get out of here right now. I've had enough of this shoving around from you. It's about time you learned your place.
It might be better if we came in.
Anything you've got to say to me, you can say here. I don't want any cops in my house.
You want to get your daughter?
What for?
We're going to have to take her down to juvenile hall.
You guys just don't give up, do you? You want me to call my doctor again?
We talked to him this afternoon.
Then you know the story. Now get out of here.
You want to get your daughter?
Look, I've got a gun inside. If you're still here when I come back, I'm going to...
Now, you listen to me, mister. You've been acting like a big man long enough. You can play the part of the outraged parent with your family, but don't try it with us.
I'm not going to have you talk to me like that.
Not much you can do about it. We got the boy who's been supplying your daughter with narcotics. It's pretty clear that this home isn't the place for her.
She's a good girl.
We didn't say she wasn't.
Then why don't you leave her alone?
You know better than that.
Can do you boys some good downtown. I got a lot of friends.
You're going to need them.
All right, you want to make a case out of this? I'll fight you in every court in the country before I let you take my daughter away from me. Now, you just try it.
Your daughter's a drug addict. She's sick. She's got to be straightened out. She needs help.
Who are you to set yourself up as the jury?
You got a fine girl in there. She's got all the breaks except somebody who thinks enough of her to stand by her.
There isn't anything she wants she doesn't have.
What about the things she needed? You let her run all over the town by herself. She gets in trouble, and you won't take the time to care for her.
What about those 2 men who got her started? What are you going to do with them? They're guilty. If it hadn't been for those 2, this never would have happened.
They'll be taken care of. You lay the blame any place you want, mister, but if you're honest, you'll keep it.
What's going to happen to her?
She'll be given medical attention. We'll do what we can.
I can afford to take care of her. I've got the money. I'll hire the best people. I want her to have the best.
Yeah.
She's mine. I'm her father. I've got the right to take care of her.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Hmm?
Why didn't you?
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 3rd, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or 2 for yourself. Smoke them, and you'll say, as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
Vincent Norman Beale and Louis Shellman Conklin were tried and convicted of 1 count of burglary and additional charges of violation of the State Narcotic Act, of felony, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
They receive sentences as prescribed by law. Burglary is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state prison. Catherine Noreen Pilgrim had a hearing in juvenile court and was made a ward of that court. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Joyce McCluskey, Harry Bartell, Carolyn Jones. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's about the only way to make a living down on the waterfront in San Francisco. Because around here, a set of morals won't cause any more stir than Mother's Day in an orphanage. Maybe that's not good, but that's the way it is. And it wouldn't do any good to build a church down here, because some guy'd muscle in and start cutting the wine with wood alcohol. All you can do is try to make the books balance, and the easiest way to do that is keep one hand on your billfold and the other hand on somebody else's. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else that'll buy a warm winter. It works out all right. It saves the government a lot of money. But if anything goes wrong, your trouble comes hard. It doesn't do any good to sing the blues, because down here, you're just another guy in the chorus. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. It started to rain up by Pier 19, and I knew there was a storm on the way. The bay looked flat and smoothed over. But you can say that for a lot of quarrels. So I closed the office and walked down to the barber shop for a shave. The barber lathered me up so I couldn't answer back and started to tell me how Dean Atchison ought to handle things. About 5 minutes later, somebody walked into the shop and started tapping my foot. He got tired of that and moved up to my chest.
Hey, you listening? Hey.
Stop pushing. That's my chest, not a buzzer.
Are you listening?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Hey, I want to talk to you alone.
He's a barber. He won't listen.
Let's go alone.
All right, let's go. I'll be back in a minute.
How do you like it? I got a 14 costume white. He says I want to hire you tonight. Will you do something for me?
Not for friendship.
I give you $200 to follow a woman.
I've done it for less.
Not this kind.
Her name is Agnes Bolton. You'll find her at 7 o'clock tonight down at this bowling alley. Here's the card. Address is there.
How do I spot her? Read it off an ankle bracelet?
You won't have any trouble. She's a large woman, about 50 years old, with a reddish face.
Oh, that's no help. For 50, she sounds normal.
Not Agnes. She couldn't pass for 90. She'll be playing in the last alley with a women's team called the Playmores.
Yeah?
You'll follow her out of the bowling alley. Somewhere along the line, she'll pick up a green leather bag. After that, I need your help.
It doesn't sound like love.
She'll go to the yacht harbor. Get aboard a boat called Seventh Heaven. I want you to have your boat ready and follow her into the bay. She'll leave that bag aboard some ship. I want to know the name of it.
Now, is that $200 worth?
Yes. I'll wait for you in your office. Contact me there and be careful.
Is she that tough?
No, but her friends are.
With a figure like that, how come she's got any?
They're holdovers. Now, just be careful.
Yeah, well, it sounds easy at these prices.
That depends on your luck, Mr. Novak. If it turns bad, you've been cheating.
He stood at the door for a minute, and his eyes swept the shop like a $10 broom. And then he turned around and walked off. Well, you couldn't tell anything from his face, and his smile was as smooth as a pound of liver in a bucket of glycerin. Well, after I finished, I went down to Pier 19, and I took the boat up to the yacht harbor. I tied up near the Seventh Heaven, and I started downtown to that bowling alley. It was ladies' night, and I stood against the back rail and watched the women bowl. Most of them were wearing slacks, and if I ever get a few bucks ahead, I know the right business. At least the demand is there. About 10 minutes after I got there, Agnes Bolton showed up, and I knew right away Max Hunter overrated her. She was at least 50, because you can't get that ugly without years of practice. She was wearing a green woolen dress, and her figure wasn't any worse than a bale of cotton somebody's cut the wire on. The fat hung down from her arms, and there was so much of it you knew even her bones were plump. And Max was right about her complexion. It was red and scratchy as if she used a bag of sand for cold cream. Well, I must have stood there about 10 minutes watching them bowl when the other girl came up. I didn't see her, but I felt her as she brushed up against me from behind. She leaned on the railing close to me, and when she started to talk, it was like grafting a hot iron onto your spine.
You look sad, Mr. Novak. Is it the view?
Well, what are you, the repair squad?
No. I want you to do me a favor.
You do me one. Slide over. I bruise easy.
Oh?
Now, what's on your mind?
I want you to do me a favor. Don't follow Agnes Bolton.
You're pretty, but I got Max Hunter's dough.
I'll help you spend it. Don't let Agnes Bolton get to that boat.
Look, Angel, go warm up an armory. I got a deal.
Suppose I tell Agnes Bolton you're going to follow her.
You tell her first without tagging by here. Now, if you got something on your mind, lay it on the line or relax.
I want her worse than Max Hunter does. When she gets that green bag, I want you to bring her to me.
I couldn't move her that far. You better rent a derrick.
Please, Mr. Novak. It's important to me. I want to talk to Agnes Bolton. I can give you more money than Max Hunter.
You haven't got enough to cover, lady. You're talking about kidnapping, and that's a federal rap. The answer's no.
You're sure?
Unless you want to change the offer.
I hope you make it, darling.
I may.
Don't bet your $200. It's bad to die broke.
Is anybody that tough?
Now it's my turn to brush you off. Go ahead and follow her, Mr. Novak. But I'll bet you have to roll her the last couple of miles. And unless you can prove it's an election bet, the police will cause you trouble.
Well, I watched her as she turned her back and walked out of there. She looked real good. She was wearing a tight jersey dress that gave you the idea she either thought the weather was warm or she wasn't much on details. Well, I turned around and looked for Agnes Bolton. The game was breaking up, and she started into the dressing room. A few minutes later, she came out and started down Market Street. There was no trouble following her. You could see her in the crowd. And she rolled from side to side as she walked, and when she bumped into anybody, they looked back at her as if they'd been hit in the chest with a sack of jelly. She crossed the street at Stockton and went into a little coin shop. She came out about 5 minutes later with a green leather bag. She strapped it over her shoulder, and she held onto her purse with the other hand. At Powell Street, she got on the cable car up near the front. I moved up there to be safe. She looked heavy enough to tip a cable car uphill. In that light, she didn't look any better. Part of her hair had come undone and hung down in her face like the branches on a dead tree. I noticed her eyes for the first time. They were small and so close together they could have saved time and put them in one socket. Well, she got off the cable car at Geary and walked into a hotel. I followed her and watched her squeeze into a telephone booth on the other side of the lobby. The way she fit, a sardine ought to be happy. She took some money out of her purse and started to dial.
A couple of people moved in front of her, and I didn't get a look at her for about 5 minutes. And when they moved away, she was still talking to somebody. I looked up about 10 minutes later, and I knew something was wrong. Her head was pressed against the phone. She'd run out of conversation. I walked across the lobby and opened the door to get to the phone booth. She fell out as old as she'd ever get. There, hey, help me get her over to the couch, will you?
Yes, sir. Was she your wife?
Well, she was. This is the way I'd want her.
Her purse is spilled all over the floor. Sure is a mess.
Yeah.
She's some relative, huh?
Look, mister, stop trying to pair us up. I was around when she tumbled out, that's all.
Yeah. What'd she die from?
I don't know.
I just figured you might know what she died from.
No, I don't.
It's a simple question to answer when you know what she died from.
All right, let me through here. Come on. All right, stand back. Give her air.
She can't use anymore, Copper.
Huh?
She quit about 5 minutes ago.
Who are you?
I'm not dead. She is.
Then who's she?
You better check on her stuff, and don't forget that green bag.
Yeah. What bag?
The green bag over there on the floor. Well, it was over there a minute ago.
The same one the little guy had?
What little guy?
The one who was talking to you. He just walked out of here carrying a green bag.
Oh, I got out on the street, and the little man had just crossed Geary. He turned and looked back once, and I saw him melt into the crowd and disappear quick like the wake of a ship on a dark night. When I came back to the lobby, the copper was over to the couch making noises in his throat as if he was trying to eat a pound of cellophane. The manager of the hotel was wringing his hands and making little steps like a ballet dancer with a hot foot. The copper took my name and put in a call to homicide, and a few minutes later, I got into that phone booth. There was a number on the pad, and I took it down. It was Greystone 42961. Well, it didn't prove much, but Agnes Bolton wasn't out to prove much tonight. I began going through the phone book, but there was no Max Hunter listed, and when I called the office, nobody answered. I knew there was as much chance of him showing up as a second piece of butter on a 50-cent lunch. I ran down that Greystone number and found out it was an address out on Post Street. I walked through the lobby and out the side door. Some of the people were out of the dining room, and they looked mad because Agnes Bolton had died during the roast beef instead of later. Well, I walked down Geary to the Union Square garage and gave the guy my ticket. He started down the ramp for the car, and I stood there waiting. I must have looked lonely, because Hellman from Homicide shoved up near the cashier's cage and started over. He made his way through the cars, and as he squeezed by the last one, he looked like a sea lion.
Hello, Novak. We identified her.
Well, you had lots to work with, Hellman.
Where are you going?
Out on Post Street.
I'll go with you. Her name was Agnes Bolton.
You read it somewhere?
She was a government agent.
They got their money's worth.
Coroner says she died of quick poison.
How quick?
5 minutes.
You're working him too hard, Hellman.
He's got a license. He says 5 minutes.
She was in that phone booth 10 minutes. Nobody got to her.
She looked dead to me, Novak. I don't believe you.
Well, I'm hurt.
I don't believe a thing you say.
That's up to you. I'm not starting a religion, Hellman. I watched her for 10 minutes. Nobody got to her. You better check on that little guy.
Yeah?
She was carrying a green bag. A little guy walked out of there with it.
He sounds hard to find. You don't.
Hey, mister, is this your ticket?
Yeah, it's a blue nag.
You better come down and drive it up.
Why?
I can't get to the wheel. The guy on there won't move.
Huh?
I don't blame him either. When you're dead, you got a right to rest.
Hellman stood there a minute, wiping his teeth with his tongue, and it began to sound like somebody beating a bathtub with a piece of steak. When he finished making noises, we walked down the ramp to the car. It was the little guy who had taken the green bag. He was hunched over, and he was grabbing the wheel as if he'd just married it. Hellman lifted his head up and laid him across the seat. The light was bad, but you could see a little of his face. There was watering around his forehead, and the damp hair was plastered down under his hat brim. The perspiration had broken up and started to run down his forehead like tears, and you got the idea he cried out of his hairline instead of his eyes. He didn't look surprised or pained. He just stared with a puzzled look as if he'd missed part of the conversation. Hellman stood there trying to wipe some egg off his coat and turning to look at the guy to make sure he didn't leave.
So what happened, Novak?
So he had an automobile accident, Hellman. I don't know.
He's your passenger?
He bummed the ride himself. When I saw him, he was on his way with that green bag.
Where is it?
He got talked out of it. You better check on a guy named Max Hunter.
Whose cousin is he?
He gave me $200 to tail Agnes Bolton. I got another offer, too.
Yeah.
A blonde biscuit, and she said everything on the beat.
For a total stranger, you sure met a lot of people.
You better meet a lot of them, too, Hellman, because one of them got to Agnes Bolton.
How about Junior here? Did he crawl down the ramp and die on your seat covers?
I don't know how he got here.
Well, maybe you left him here and forgot.
No, he wouldn't slip my mind. I haven't murdered anybody in the front seat.
Well, but it's lively, though. You better get a story, Novak.
You already got mine, Hellman.
You won't like the ending.
No, but I'll bet you do.
I like it fine, Novak. You're the only lead on Agnes Bolton. I'll shop around and get enough to pin you down.
You couldn't pin down a dead butterfly, Hellman. You better look up Max Hunter and check on a boat called the Seventh Heaven.
I will, and I'll put a tail on you, Novak. Follow you all over San Francisco. He'll go any place.
That's fine, because I got a suggestion. As soon as Hellman left, I took a cab out to that address on Post Street, but it was a waste of time. I might as well have been peddling tip sheets in a monastery. There was a brown house on the corner, and there was a big curved window that stuck out from the rest of the house like a wart on the back of your neck. A toothy old man answered the door and said he didn't know Agnes Bolton. I was pretty sure he was on the level. He just kept nodding his head and rubbing the wrinkles on his face. There were enough of them there to bundle up and sell as a canal. I left no downtown. On the way, I went by the yacht harbor, and the Seventh Heaven had moved out into the stream. Well, it was raining harder now, and the docks looked shiny as if somebody had given them a coat of egg white. Well, I had a couple of places to hit, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy who never learned that if you keep your foot on a bar rail for 20 years, it'll do more good for your arches than it will for your brain. I finally found him in the hunt room of the Bellevue Hotel.
A drink for Mr. Novak. Something to take off the chill.
No, I don't want a drink, Jocko, and you've had enough, too.
I refuse to shiver to death, Patsy. I'd look terrible with a blue face.
Will you stop drinking, Jocko?
I hate whiskey, Patsy, but I'm drinking tonight with a purpose. I made a deal with Charlie the bartender to buy every 8th drink, and I've got him on the run. By morning, I'll have him in bankruptcy court.
Look, Jocko, I'm in trouble.
I always know when I've had enough to drink, Patsy. When I tilt the glass up, the rim rubs against the bridge of my nose. It's a sort of safeguard, so that when my nose begins to break out in blisters, I know I've had enough for the night.
Will you listen?
Patsy, you sound like a young girl coming home from boarding school. You'll never be on the right side of things. You'll always be in trouble because you're a bad citizen. You're a shabby half-step in the march of progress.
All right, Jocko.
You don't know the difference between good and evil. For you, all of human endeavor is a vague blur in high heels, and your vocabulary is a few gutter terms sandwiched in between yes and no. You'll never be any good, Patsy.
Yeah.
You might as well try to recapture melancholy or ventilate a swamp. You haven't a chance, Patsy. You'll never be any good.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes, if you're going to be touchy.
Hellman wants me on a murder rap.
Yes?
Some tubby woman died in the hotel lobby.
Sounds like his mother.
She was a government agent. I followed her in there.
Patsy, you've got to start trusting the government.
I was paid to follow her, but she ate some poison somewhere along the line.
That's the trouble with food.
I got hired by a guy named Max Hunter.
Look him up and resign. That's the best way out of this thing.
I don't know where to find him. And I think that Max Hunter's a phony. Hell, you gotta help me.
Yeah?
Now, he gave me this card. His prints must be on it. Check it down at headquarters, will you? Find out if he's got a record and then tag by my place.
Yes, I better have a drink first. There's an ugly taste in my mouth. I think it's saliva.
Will you hurry up, Jocko? All you do is drink.
That's all I have left, Patsy. I'm too young to die and too old to do almost anything else.
Yeah, sure.
It's true, Patsy. When you get to be my age, most of the quiet pleasures are fattening, and most of the active ones would kill me. Good night, lover.
When I left Jocko, I dropped by the Chronicle morgue to look up Max Hunter. There was nothing under Hunter. I looked through every Max from Bear back to Beer Bum, and I couldn't find a thing. Well, it was close to 11 when I rode down to the office for a final check. It wasn't raining hard anymore. It was a nice, easy drizzle. You could hear it playing against the sheds along Pier 19. It sounded quiet, almost private, like the sound a woman makes when she runs her fingernail up and down her stocking. It got on your nerves at first, and you began to enjoy it. The minute I got to the door, I knew something was wrong. There wasn't any reason, but I got the feeling. The same way you know sometimes when you're going to get the busy signal on the phone. I could see her lying there on the floor before I turned on the light.
You took one look at her, and you knew she was the sort of girl whose name ought to be Pearl or Myrtle. Somebody'd sapped her, and she was lying with one hand stretched out and the other under her hair. It wasn't really hair. It looked more like a pelt or a raccoon just after a shampoo. It was fuzzed up on the sides, and on top she'd combed it back so tight it was about to go under the scalp. She began to move a little. When I bent over, she started to mumble.
What do you want?
The red, if you're going to stay long. Here, put your head up.
Are you Mr. Novak?
It's too late to change.
Where's Agnes Bolton? Where'd she go, Mr. Novak?
I don't know where she went. Was she a good girl?
Something's happened to her.
Don't worry, it won't happen again. Who sent you here, Max Hunter?
Yeah. Please help me out.
All right, come on.
I'm Francine Kane. I came to find out about Agnes Bolton.
You're a deep sleeper. What happened?
You wouldn't know her.
I would if she's a tall blonde on the make for that green bag. Who is she?
Joan Hayward. You can find her at the Geary Theater.
She an actress?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
Her stray talents, Mr. Novak, are dimensional rather than dramatic. If you're smart, you'll stay away from her.
Don't tell him any more, Fran. He's paid up.
Hello, Hunter. You oversold me.
You give me back the $200.
I'm going to give you lots for your money.
Don't include Agnes Bolton. I don't know anything about her.
Is that a lie?
Might be. There's the green bag.
Joan Hayward has it.
Is that a lie?
The little guy didn't think so. She left him dead in my car.
Let's go, Fran.
No, you're in a hurry, Max.
You're not. I hope you like your office, Novak.
Huh?
Because this is where you're going to spend the night.
Don't let him feel bad, lady. It must have been his turn. When I left, he was crumpled up against the desk, and she was staring down at him as if she forgot to water the plants. When I rode by the Geary Theater, it was dark, so I looked up Joan Hayward's address. When I got out to her place, I knew I'd made a mistake. The landlady clutched her bathrobe like a bar of solid gold and told me Joan Hayward left the house 10 minutes ago. There was a cabbie at the corner, and he said he dropped her at the Gold Bar Club a few minutes before. I got down there about 1 o'clock, and Hellman was wandering around, stopping every few feet as if he expected to hear something. The bar was dark except for a light over on one side, and over near the jukebox, Joan Hayward was stretched out as dead as a deer on a fender. At first, Hellman didn't pay any attention when I walked in. I stood there for a while and looked at Joan Hayward. She still looked pretty, except in the dim light her skin looked coarse and reminded you of a piece of felt that was almost worn out. But the rest was all right, and Hellman came over for another look.
What did you forget, Novak?
My black tie. How'd it happen?
The bar was closed. Where were you?
Crawling out from under your thumb.
Yeah. We're going to keep that coroner. It was quick poison.
Yeah.
We found a needle in her coin purse. She didn't know about it and ran into trouble when she started to call up.
You better find this guy, Max Hunter.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah?
There is no Max Hunter.
Does she believe that?
Your Schicker friend came in with a card. We went over the fingerprints. They belong to Jackie Wren. He's wanted for espionage.
For more than that now, Hellman.
Maybe. Where have you been?
Look, Hellman, stop needling me. I won't go on the block for her.
Don't you like her?
I got an alibi you can't break. I've been all over town. Ask your tail. Ask your tail where I've been.
That won't get it.
Huh?
He reported in at 11:30. You got the wrong idea, Novak. You don't rate overtime.
When I left there, I knew everything was downhill. Hellman could stick me for everything but Dan McGrew. My only out was to find Jackie Wren, but you can't ring that many doorbells in one night. I went through the book, but there was no Jackie Wren or Max Hunter listed. I went home to get some sleep, and if they turned Gabriel loose tonight, it was all right with me. Jocko called up about 9 and said there was still no trace of Wren. Well, some mornings you can't trust yourself with a razor, so I got dressed and went down to a Greek's on Geary Street for breakfast. The murder was all over page 1, but there were so many pictures of Hellman you couldn't tell who was dead. I was about halfway through breakfast when I noticed a story down in the corner. A girl named Toni Pritchard had been found dead out in the marina. The story said everybody liked her. The police didn't have a lead, and they couldn't find a reason. It seemed kind of funny, but when I got to the last paragraph, I began to wonder. It said she was employed by the Musitone Company and worked the late shift as a switchboard operator. I wasn't sure, but you can't pass the dice when you only got $1 left, so I jumped down to see Frank Lupo. He said the Musitone Company owned the jukebox and the Gold Bar Club, but it worked like all the rest. People use a little microphone in front of the box. They call into a main switchboard for songs. I grabbed Jocko, and we got up to the Musitone Company. The guy in charge said, sure, they recorded some of the talk just to check on the girls, and sometimes the girls did it just for laughs. Well, we started through the recordings, and about half hour later, Jocko rolled a 7.
No, Patsy, they're all old ones. Try this.
Yeah. Well, put it down. I'll handle the needle.
There.
Crazy, Jackie. You know something's wrong. Let me handle it, friend. Don't get into trouble. I don't want you to get into trouble, Jackie. Will you let me worry? You get back to the hotel. I'll meet you at the Kenwood right after. It's too late. She's coming now. I can go as soon as you call, Jackie. You made a mistake, Joe. It's one time you shouldn't have hurried.
That's enough, Jocko. Let's get up to Kenwood.
Why don't we think it over a while?
Put the record down and come on there at the Kenwood. You heard the shots?
That's what I'm worried about. If that fellow's any kind of a mechanic, he's had time to reload.
I got down to headquarters and told Hellman why that girl, Tony Pritchard, lost her vote. We rode out to the Kenwood, and Hellman started through the register. There was no Jackie Wren listed, and we didn't have any better luck with the girl. I briefed the desk clerk, and he said he thought there were 2 people in the hotel who looked like that, but he didn't know their names. Well, all we could do was wait for him to show. So Hellman and I walked down the street and slid into the car. It must have been about 3 o'clock, and for the next 4 hours we sat in there. About 7 o'clock it began to rain harder. It wasn't easy to see the front of the Kenwood. I got out to wipe the windshield, and that was a mistake, because just then the door of the hotel swung open. The girl came out first, and then Jackie Wren. He saw me right away, and the 2 of them jumped over to the curb and got into a car. Riding with Hellman's just about as safe as eating an arsenic sandwich. When we got to the corner, they turned east and started down Bush. It wasn't easy to stay behind them. The rain was hitting the windshield, and it was like trying to see through a mint julep. When we got past Jones, Hellman began to close in. It must have scared Wren too much, because it stopped and he swung the car around with Hellman a few feet behind, and it was a dead end both ways.
You can't get out now. Open the door.
Yeah. There he is, over to the wall. Over here, Hellman. He'll go down that embankment on the other side.
Oh, he can't. It's too steep. Stay on this side. Can you see him?
No. But he's around, I think.
You got a chance now, Wren. Come on out.
I don't like you that well, mister.
Over there by the embankment. Can you see the girl?
She's with him.
Over to one side. Move up in front.
Oh, you're confused, Hellman. I pay the taxes.
It's gonna hurt from now on, Wren. I'm coming over.
I hope you make it, Copper. All right, Copper. Unless you want a medal, I'm through.
You don't need the gun, then. Get rid of it. Just toss it over there.
Can't even lift my arm.
Throw it down, mister.
Jackie, please. I threw it right at you, Copper. Francine, you crazy woman, you crazy. You let him kill me.
He's going over that embankment.
You let him kill me right in front of you.
No, Jackie. Please, Jackie, I tried to stop you. Jackie.
Grab her, Novak. She's going over.
Leave me alone. Honey. Jackie, I want you.
Grab her.
I want you, Jackie. At least they can let me have this. Jackie!
Long way down.
Yeah. Too bad her name wasn't Jill. Last I saw Francine, she was lying down at the bottom in the rain. Her head was over to one side, and you knew with a little push it'd roll around as easy as a ball bearing on a plate. Her face was clean, but the rain was beginning to wash the dirt down, and when I left, she wasn't pretty anymore. Jackie Wren outlasted her by a few hours, and Hellman used them all. Agnes Bolton was carrying government papers bound for China. The 4 people were split into teams. Jackie Wren and Francine were trying to outbid Joan Hayward and the little guy. The way Jackie had it figured, he'd find out what ship they were going out on and pick it up from there. Joan Hayward knew he was dealing with me, so she followed me after I left that barber shop. She saw me park the car in that garage and tailed me down to the bowling alley. She planted the needle in Agnes Bolton's purse, and the little guy tagged along behind waiting for something to happen. Just to be on the safe side in case anything went wrong, Joan doubled by the office and gave Francine a headache.
When the little guy got the green bag, he took it to Joan. It was too good to split, so she killed him and left him in my car. Well, then she made a mistake. When Jackie called her up and asked her to come down to the Gold Bar Club, she bought the story. Oh, it would have worked out fine for Jackie if he hadn't talked in front of that microphone. But a nosy girl heard it and tried to put the screws on him. Well, Hellman asked only one question. About that conversation between Jackie and the girl. Why would a person say anything that private in front of a microphone? I don't know. But I told him about a couple of others Jocko and I heard. He didn't say anything, but I'll bet he gets a hold of those records and plays them every night before he goes to sleep.